Group E is certainly a game or a group that we're going to have two exciting games. We're going to keep you abreast of Costa Rica and Germany. 7 o'clock back home, 10 o'clock here local time on what feels like a cool evening in the Khalifa International Stadium. I bet the aircon is not switched on down at pitch level tonight, as Spain, all in red, playing from right to left, know that they, if avoid defeat, they will be through. For Japan, well, ideally they've got to get the win. There is a scenario where they could go through with a draw if the other game ends in a draw. So we'll keep you abreast of all of the permutations. You're listening to 5 Live as Pau Torres playing at the left of the central defence. Only played the one game in qualifying, but very similar to the Germany game here, where Germany was so comfortable, certainly for the first hour. We're going to see a lot of possession for those in red.
Oh, you see masses of possession from Spain in any game. I mean, I think against Germany the other night, they had 65% possession of the ball versus Germany. So that's the level of this Spanish team in terms of the philosophy of how they play. Possession is king, dominating the ball, toying with your opponent, showing their technical quality. And you know, just looking at Japan, Jay Boothroyd was spot on earlier when he said they're going to drop to a 5, and they look like a flat back 5 at the moment.
This is Williams out to Gavi. First time cross, hits it from the right hand side. All in red, playing from right to left as we look. And Yunya Ito, who played as an out-and-out right-sided midfielder in the first game, has got to do this wing-back role tonight, playing with a 3. But they do have the ability to be flexible. They can change it. In fact, they reverted to a 3 against Germany in their opening group game, where they really were second best for large parts of that game, and yet with their resolve they came from behind to win, to secure a famous win and a rare win against UEFA opposition. This is Olmo for Spain, midway through his own half, just being held there by Ito, who takes the throw, and he goes all the way back now to Itakura. Yoshida, who's the central figure in that 3-man defence for Japan, up towards Kamada. Kamada turns and plays the ball out towards that left-hand side. And now to Gonda, the goalkeeper, away towards our left with a back pass, who produced a terrific quadruple save against Germany in the space of about 60 seconds. It was one of those moments where you thought, oh, maybe there might be something in this game when they were trailing by a goal to 0. And then, of course, Gundogan had hit the post in the second half, and Germany were unable to get that second goal. Talking of Germany, how they started against Costa Rica. Conor McNamara.
Still Costa Rica 0, Germany 0, but Germany have had the first attempt on target of the game, and it's Musiala veering in onto his right boot, just on the edge of the penalty area. A shot which Keylor Navas got down well to save and to push away. Costa Rica 0, Germany 0.
As Kelly was saying, though, everything's riding on it. Germany bottom of the group going into this final set of matches, as Pau Torres to Rodri out to Nico Williams, making his first start. So a couple of appearances off the bench in the previous 2 games, and now it's with Pedri, who was UEFA's best young player at the Euros when he starred in that last year, when he was just 18 years of age. So they've certainly added a lot of exciting young talent to match the experience of Busquets. Cut out by Torres, and then he actually gives the ball away to Maida. Holds the ball up, plays it ahead of him. Taken on the outside now by Kubo, with a cut back into the penalty area. And there was blue shirts coming forward, and now the header by Nagatomo on that far side. But Spain will come forward with Gavi, just held up short of the halfway line. But it was an exciting run by Takefusa Kubo on this near side.
I think that passage of play is what you're going to see on repeat for this game for the 90 minutes. I think you're going to see Spain with the ball. Like now, there's a lull in the tempo. They're having the ball on the halfway line. Japan dropping right off, flat back 5, 4 across the middle. Just Maida by himself, who's going to go out and press a little bit. But then when they win, if they turn over the ball in the middle of the park or they win a tackle, then they can run beyond. You're just going to see this surge of energy go through the Japan team. They're going to get up in support and try and hurt Spain, and that's going to be their tactic.
Well, Kubo, who had that attack, he plays his football in Spain for Real Sociedad. 2 goals in his 16 appearances. Played, of course, against Manchester United at Old Trafford in the Europa League, so they'll know all about him. Playing on the right-hand side, Kamada, actually, I thought would play on the right. Kubo predominantly was on the left against Germany, but they've switched either side of David Maida, the Celtic striker. But Spain have the ball now, and every outfield player is in the half away towards our left-hand side in the Japanese half.
I mean, to give you an idea about how much Spain like the ball, I think they had over 1,000 passes in the game against Costa Rica. I mean, I know it was 7-0, but you can see a similar type of pattern developing in this game as well.
Gavi out to Williams. Williams with the cross. Olmo was there. Morata had the first little nibble. They got the ball as far away as Busquets on the edge of the area, but he was falling backwards as he hit it left-footed, and it's gone high over the top and out for a goal kick. 0-0 and 0-0 in the other game too.
Yeah, he never looked comfortable. Busquets arrived with him on the edge of the box. Poor clearance, really miscues it, and he's got plenty of time. Not a lot of Japanese shirts out there ready to press him. He shifts it onto his left foot, but like you said, Dano, it was a horrible body position, leaning back, and never really got over the ball for any power or to keep the strike down.
South African referee Victor Gomez has given a free kick. It was Pau Torres for a challenge on Maida. It was inside the Japanese half, which they've taken, as it's over on that far side, and Kamada hits the ball long, looking for the run of Maida. Torres moving across towards that far side with the back pass to Simon in the Spanish goal, and they play the ball out. Well, that was a heavy touch by Busquets. He's given the ball away. This is Kubo, who chips it into the penalty area, and in the end it was Pau Torres who had to get back there, but the danger hasn't been dealt with, and Ito fires in a low right-footed shot into the side netting. Extremely sloppy, all stemming from that mistake by Sergio Busquets.
Well, the most unlikely of mistakes as well, from the man who normally is a safe pair of hands with the ball in that area of the pitch, but it takes a horrible touch. And it's a shame that the interception from Maida wasn't a better one. I thought he had a chance to really pass that ball into his teammate. If the pass had been better initially, well, I think the ball would have been in the back of the net, because it would just been a clean one-on-one from about 12 yards out. But they had to reset a little bit in that. The ball had to come back out to the edge of the box. It ends up on the right-hand side, and shot goes into the side netting, but just a little warning for Spain there.
As a former defender, did you think that Balde did well because he was quick to close down Ito, which just seemed to cut out the avenue of him going across the face of goal? He had to go to the near post as a result.
Yeah, absolutely. He had to get narrow to force the ball wide. That's the first. Yep, well done. Get yourself inside so the ball goes outside of you. And once it did, he really did try to block that angle, didn't he? So the shot went into the near post.
Olmo now attacking for Spain. Little back heel. And Balde darts into the penalty area, and the cutback as well was played back from the byline on this left-hand side. Ball's gone behind. It's going to be a corner kick to Spain.
Showed his pace there, didn't he? The young lad, Balde. I know we've had a look at him defensively, but going forward, I mean, he looks absolutely rapid, doesn't he? His little turn of pace there. The first 5 yards was electric. No one could live with him.
Corner's taken short. Olmo to Gavi. Back to Olmo. Delivers the cross. Morata with a header. Down into the ground and then picked up quite comfortably, really. It was straight at Suichi Gonda, the Japanese goalkeeper. Let's get back to find out Costa Rica, Germany. Connor.
9 minutes played. Germany have had 3 decent chances so far. That tells you how this game has started. Still Costa Rica 0, Germany 0. 2 of them from Musiala, 1 a shot on target pushed away. The other one, he had 8 touches of the ball in around the 6-yard box. He was weaving through the defenders. He just couldn't get the clean shot away at the end. And then Thomas Muller with a diving header, Karen Bardsley, just off target. Germany must score or they're going home, and they're playing like it.
Absolutely. The numerical dominance going forward is incredible. They're actually on a counter-attack at the minute. I'll hand you over to Connor.
Yeah, well, Musiala gets to the edge of the penalty area, and the header is in! And it's scored by Serge Gnabry! Germany, who had to score tonight, have managed to break the deadlock after 10 minutes. So, Germany are keeping their side of the deal, and they'll try to put a bit of pressure on the other 2 teams in the group. Serge Gnabry, once of Arsenal with the header. Costa Rica 0, Germany 1.
Well, that now means, I was about to say, as long as it stays like we are, nothing's changed with Spain, Japan, Costa Rica and Germany. Now that means that Japan have got to win, because a draw for Japan was only good enough if Costa Rica, Germany ended in a draw. So straight away the pressure now is on Japan. And this is now where we're going to have to start to pay attention, Matt Upson. You're going to have to earn your money tonight.
Well, you're on it, Deno. You're always on it. I don't think you need my help.
So Germany have currently now moved to second in the table as a result of that goal. Japan, there is a silence inside the Khalifa Stadium. Here is Olmo. Olmo can't get in between the two Japanese players. His cross actually strikes his own player, Pedri. Falls to Gavi, out towards Williams. Right corner of the area. Gavi makes the run with the cutback, cleared away only as far as Williams' right-hand side. Back to Azpilicueta, right corner of the area to Morata, and Morata doesn't miss. Morata with a downward header. 3-3 for Alvaro Morata, and he marks his first start at the World Cup with yet another goal, and Spain lead by 1-0.
Well, it's just too easy for Spain and for Morata to get on the end of this cross. I mean, it's good position, lovely ball in, but there's not enough presence from the Japanese defence in order to compete against Morata, to even make his life difficult to head this ball. He probably scores, well, I think he's actually inside the 6-yard box. Question marks of Gonda as well, not coming out and deal with this, but the ball gets cleared, not particularly well, gets recycled to the edge of the box. Azpilicueta with a little chip, and Morata heads in from, 4 yards out. It's a good cross, he gets up well, but there's nowhere near enough pressure or challenge on him. It's far too easy, and it's such a simple header downwards into the turf.
And he becomes the second Spanish player to score in each of his first 3 World Cup appearances. The only other Spanish player to do exactly that was Zara in 1950. Well, even before they fell behind, they were under pressure. But now with Germany leading by 1-0, Japan need to score twice as they trail by 1-0. However, that's exactly the same scenario that they were faced when they played Germany a few days ago here in this stadium.
I mean, you just had this feel at the start of this evening with Germany sat at the bottom of the table on 1 point. But with how the fixtures are, you just always had this feeling that Germany were going to go through, even though they're in the worst position out of all teams on the table. You just know that when it comes to those moments, they deliver.
They've now scored more goals in this World Cup than when they actually won it in 2010.
Spain?
Yeah.
Well, 7-0 helps, doesn't it?
Just a little. But the most that they've ever scored is 11, and that was when they reached the quarter-finals in 1986.
There can't be many games in the World Cup finals where there's 7 goals to one team. There can't be many bigger scorelines than that in the World Cup finals.
Here's your answer to that one. Because if you remember, Hungary 10, El Salvador 1 in 1982.
Okay.
Hungary 9, South Korea 0. That was in 54. Yugoslavia 9, Zaire 0 in 1974.
So you have done your homework there.
Yeah. Most goals in a match 1954 was 12. Austria 7, Switzerland 5.
Wow.
So Spain leading by 1-0. And any sense of jeopardy in the group just seems to have evaporated quite quickly as far as Group E is concerned, because Germany leading 1-0 and Spain needing to score 2. They're going to have to really pull off a remarkable performance now, bearing in mind they're going to see so little of the ball.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just having a quick scan onto the screen for the possession. I think it's 79% Spain, 14% Japan, and that says a lot. When you're chasing a game, one thing you need is the ball, and I don't think Japan are going to see much of it.
It's a lovely little pirouette by Pau Torres as they get it out towards Gavi, and now Gavi inside to Busquets. Pedri takes the ball in midway through the Japan half. Spain lead by 1-0. Germany are 1-0 up against Costa Rica. It was that game against Costa Rica where they just, all the good work against Germany proved to be their undoing. That have beaten Costa Rica, that have already been through at this stage. However, now they need 2 goals because of this scoreline involving Costa Rica and Germany. Conor McNamara.
Yes, quarter of an hour played now. Costa Rica 0, Germany 1. Germany are all about it now. They are bossing the midfield. They've had another chance. Goretzka's header on target, pushed away by Keylor Navas. And Karabardzi's alongside me. Costa Rica can hardly get out of their own half. This is how we thought Germany would start the tournament.
This is exactly what I expected from Germany from the first day, we started. They're absolutely dominating possession. Costa Rica are struggling to find connections, and they're finally entering the German half.
And it is Serge Gnabry's goal that separates them. Costa Rica 0, Germany 1. At the moment, this would be enough to see the Germans through.
Yep, they would go through as runners-up. Spain on course to finish top of Group E, would have a last 16 date with Croatia. Balde, near side the left, plays it back to Pedri. Hit it low right-footed. That was blocked by Tanaka. And then he goes all the way back to the halfway line to Pau Torres.
It's always a pleasure to watch Spain with the ball, isn't it? Especially their midfield 3. When you think of Gavi, Pedri, they're not the biggest in stature, are they? But the way they use their body to shield the ball is an absolute lesson. They receive it, and they always manage to get their body between the opponent and the ball. So you can never get it. If you get it, you have to foul them. And they're just comfortable having it with 2 men around them, 3 men around them. They'll still have the ball because they're always positioning themselves in the right place. It's great to watch, and it just allows them to dominate possession in nearly every game.
We talked before about Japan playing with the 3 central defenders, but essentially it's a back 5 because Spain are pinning the wing back so far.
It's a flat back 5, isn't it? I mean, if you look at Aito, Nagatomo, they're just going all the way in with Olmo and Nico Williams, so that you've literally got 3 centre-backs with Morata, which then you wonder, well, how are the midfield going to get out and be able to put a foot in and set about the Spanish players in the middle of the park to win the ball back? At the moment, they just can't.
That's the voice of Matt Upson, who's part of our team out here in Qatar, with Japan 0, Spain 1, and Germany leading Costa Rica by 1-0. As Spain, taken away from him by Maida, runs all the way back to Taniguchi, one of the 3 central defenders, and there was just a blow there for Kubo, who's gone down over the halfway line, holding his face in a challenge. He's back to his feet all right. Japan, though, trailing by 1-0. Radio 5 Sports Extra, the TMS team will be back with you in the early hours of the morning from around 4:45. Second day of the first test. Incredible day's play. Crawley top scoring with 122, 4 centuries, as England hit a 506 for 4 on that opening day in Pakistan. So the cricket back in on Sports Extra and BBC Sounds, of course, in the morning. And on BBC Sounds as well, ahead of tomorrow's grudge match, there is a special podcast on the World Cup daily feed in the build-up to Ghana against Uruguay. We'll have commentary of that one tomorrow afternoon from 3 o'clock, news of South Korea, Portugal, and tomorrow night, commentary of Cameroon against Brazil and news of Serbia, Switzerland, as the group stages draw to an end. And then it's straight in to the last 16, and on Sunday, of course, England against Senegal. All the build-up and all the news between now and then you'll get throughout from the England camp on your World Cup daily podcast. 20 minutes played, Spain are leading by 1-0, and it's very, very comfortable for them. There's Morata's downward header, and Germany leading 1-0, so they will be going through as well as it stands. As Japan, they'll be hoping that Costa Rica can pull level and somehow they can fashion an equaliser. Although getting the ball off the Spaniards might be a problem.
You do wonder when Hajime Moriyasu is going to look at this and think, I need to make a change tactically, because for me at the moment, they just can't lay a glove on Spain, and you'd rather them go, okay, maybe we'll switch to a back 4, push another man into the middle of the park, set about Busquets, Pedri, Gavi, not let them have the ball, be physical. At the moment, it's just shadow boxing.
Yeah.
Shadow boxing. It's just so easy for Spain to get the passes in. They're going to be well over 1,000 passes this evening at this rate.
Yeah. So you've got the team in all red leading by a goal to nil against those in the royal blue shirts, and at the minute they're going to have to come out of the corner to Team Blue and start fighting.
Absolutely, they've conceded. They're in trouble. You know, they're not going to have a choice.
We've got a Mexican wave sweeping around this expansive stadium here in the Khalifa International Stadium. Holds just over 45,500 as Japan, trailing by a goal to nil, give the ball away over on that far side. Olmo, nice, comfortable walking pace really for Spain. Rodri, a lot of red shirts as well. A lot of support for Spain inside this stadium, as this is Pau Torres of Villarreal, his first outing at this World Cup. You would think that Laporte would come back in to partner Rodri for the last 16. He changed 3/4 of his back line tonight, Luis Enrique. As the ball is intercepted, just stepping forward by Taniguchi. And Kamada now looks for the run on the left, outside of him by Nagatomo. But they lose the ball again midway through the Spanish half, and it's back with Spain once more leading 1-0.
It's just another side of the Spanish game that is impressive also, and is the ability to hunt the ball back down once they lose it. They really do get back in position quickly. They don't just get there, they get back, and then they affect the man on the ball, and they tend to kind of swarm around the player who has the ball, and if you've not got your head up early and got your pass off, you'll end up losing possession, which has happened quite a few times in this game already. And it's that reaction from the wide players, Nico Williams, Dani Olmo, good runners. They lose the ball, bang, their reaction is to get back in, help the full-back out, and all of a sudden Spain have the ball back.
We're midway through the first half. You're listening to BBC Radio 5 Live. Spain are ahead, Germany ahead, and it's those two teams who are going through as Morata takes a shot early into the penalty area, right-footed in the inside right channel, and it was easily saved by Gonda. But it is that Germany goal that has changed everything in terms of Japan, because they now need to score 2. A draw would have been good enough for them, but with Germany leading 1-0, that Serge Gnabry goal after 10 minutes, the equation now is that somehow Japan are going to have to find the 2. They've won 3 of 11 against UEFA opposition, all in the group stages. The latest was against Germany. They're going to have to replicate that scoreline. But it's Spain just so comfortable, dictating the tempo, dictating the pace of the game. And Japan, it looks a little bleak at this stage for them.
Yeah, I mean, if they're hoping that they're going to be able to ride this first half out and then kind of push through a mistake like the Germany game, or hope that they're going to get those chances, I think you're dealing with a different animal here in Spain. And the, you know, availability for them to have the ball is just less than the match against Germany.
As Pilaqueta picks out the run of Morata with a cutback. Olmo did ever so well. The cutback from the right-hand side, Olmo was making the run into the 6-yard box. It was behind him, but he still managed to get his right leg to wrap it around and almost get a shot away. But Azpilicueta, so much room for Azpilicueta to come forward.
I mean, everyone's so deep. Azpilicueta is stepping straight into the space where you think you need to get a blue shirt out there to press the ball, but they're dropping, they're starting positions deep. There's 5 players along the back line. I think the offside flag's off for the chance of the run, but Spain move it through the midfield and into the front so quickly.
How do you win a game of football with 19% possession? That's what it currently is at the minute.
I don't even notice that, is it? Is it 12? Because of the ball in contest, 7%. That's how they do the possession figures here, so slightly less than that. I mean, it's almost impossible, isn't it?
Offside against Kamada. He just made the run in behind Azpilicueta, the Spain right back, but the Eintracht Frankfurt player had gone too early, and it will be a free kick to Spain. 25 minutes played. Costa Rica 0, Germany 1. Here, Spain leading Japan by 1-0.
Well, I think in contrast, in terms of possession, I think they had 26% possession against Germany and beat them 2-1. And I think they're hoping for that similar kind of pattern of the game, you know, because they haven't really changed since the news of the goal at Germany and since they've conceded. It's been the same game plan, hasn't it? And they've had options to just change that as we're going through the first half.
Yoshida steps forward out of defence, out to Kamada. Now they've sent a few royal blue shirts into the Spanish half, but they've lost the ball. They'll try and win it back, but Busquets just turns back to Rodri. He lays it off square to Torres, and then the ball is passed back to the goalkeeper, Simon, and now looking to turn away. Comfortably done by Rodri, despite the presence of two Japanese players trying to hunt him down. Cool as you like.
That was cool, wasn't it? No flustered moment there for Rodri. Feints to go up the line and just kind of Cruyff turns the ball back behind him, sends a Japanese player sliding into touch, trying to block the pass he thought he was going to make.
Olmo linking up with Balde on this near left-hand side, and then the ball is chipped out by Itakura to Ito on this near side, and again it breaks down for Japan. And so I would imagine that Moriyasu, their coach, who is watching on with his suit, with his smartly dressed down below, his arms behind his back at this stage, will be just starting to feel a little bit frustrated, because when you get the ball and you've only had 13% possession, when it's that little, when you do get it, it's so important that you then retain it. But they're trailing by 1-0. What about Costa Rica, Germany? Conor McNamara.
There's 27 minutes played, still that Serge Gnabry goal separated the teams. Costa Rica 0, Germany 1. Gnabry's first ever goal at a World Cup, but he's 21st for his country, and they're banging on the door for a second, and they might need it as well at some stage tonight, Germany, as Raum takes a corner here from the left-hand side and it's headed away. Karen Bardsley's alongside me. Costa Rica just can't get it down the other end.
No, they really can't. Costa Rica are really struggling, and they're going to need a lot of courage tonight to play against this German side. They need runs forward, and they really need some confidence to get on the ball and maybe look for a counter, play a bit more directly. German
goalkeeper Manuel Neuer making his 19th appearance at a World Cup, more than any goalkeeper ever. Costa Rica 0, Germany 1 for now.
Thanks, Karen. Thanks, Conor. Whilst the two of them were talking, Busquets, who was sloppy earlier in the half, played a rather loose ball that was almost intercepted by Maida, as Olmo's has passed that ball right through the middle, and it runs through to the goalkeeper, Gonda. I don't think he looked, and he was side on to his own goal. He almost proved to be quite costly again.
He nearly passed it straight to, was it Maida?
Yeah.
Nearly passed it straight to him. First time ball, a little bit too relaxed, you feel. And that is one of the dangers, in fairness. If you've got the amount of comfortable possession, you can quite easily just slip into that mode of being a little bit too relaxed, a little bit too confident, and make that mistake.
Busquets forward to the goal scorer Morata, quickly controls it, lays it off to this left-hand side. Olmo goes back to Pedri, and now Rodri in the centre circle of the Japan half, with Spain leading 1-0. Busquets, Pau Torres plays a short diagonal ball back towards Busquets. Pedri again on the turn. Japan have got everybody back behind the ball. Here is Rodri. They're going to switch it. They play the ball out towards the right-hand side. And there is Nico Williams of Athletic Bilbao, the right winger. His brother Inaki, who we saw play for Ghana. Could it be a family double?
Is it his brother, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. It was Inaki Williams who only committed to the Ghana cause. It's an incredible backstory that they've got with their mum walking through the Sahara Desert when she was pregnant.
Wow.
And then they managed to get to Spain. And so Nico Williams is just starting off as his certainly in the embryonic stages of his international career. This is his 6th appearance, and Inaki actually admits that Nico is the more talented of the two. That's what he said.
It's very kind of him.
Yeah.
Not many brothers kind of are that honest, I suppose, or are willing to admit that, but fair play to him.
Half an hour played.
Sibling rivalry and all that.
It's the same in our household. My brother's the more talented of us two.
I bet you don't agree with him.
He got the brains, I got the looks. 1-0 to Spain. 14 minutes to go to half-time. Clearance by Rodri. Busquets plays it forward.
Have you got a bit of a special occasion today or anything? Because you're rather dressed up.
No, I haven't.
You've got a nice smart shirt on.
It's just one of the 35 that
Just
I
thought
brought
that you
out.
might have been a special occasion of some kind.
No, I always try to be smartly dressed, Matt. You know
Okay.
that.
Do you?
Here is Pau Torres. Back to Simon. Spain lead by 1-0. Germany are 1-0 up against Costa Rica. Spain are going through as group winners of Group E. Germany are going through as runners-up. They thought that maybe that defeat here against Japan would have been a costly one. But they had a chance, as that was a late challenge on Busquets, who's writhing at the moment, holding his left ankle inside the centre circle. Maida goes across and tells him to get up. The referee will just have a little talking to him. Has Neil Lennon been in touch with you, George? Because Celtic under Neil Lennon beat Barcelona 2-1 with 16% possession in the 2012 in the Champions League. And in Euro 2020, Spain had 85.1% possession versus Sweden, and it finished 0-0. Someone's been doing their homework. Good knowledge, good stats.
It's always interesting to look at possession, isn't it, as a marker of how results flow with and without possession. And we all know that you don't have to dominate possession to win a game. You know, Leicester won a Premier League, not dominating possession.
Very true.
If your assets in other areas are that good, and at the moment we're not quite seeing enough from Japan on the break, physicality, quality, you know, that sucker punch doesn't appear to be there at the moment.
Taniguchi's just fouled Gavi. It's a free kick to Spain, who lead by 1-0. I received some interesting stats earlier today. This was before the Group F games. So in fact we witnessed our 100th goal at this World Cup when Canada got their solitary goal in the 2-1 defeat against Morocco. But since the World Cup expanded to 32 teams, so that was in '98, that was the France World Cup, only Germany in 2006 and South Africa in 2010 have had lower goals per match average than this one in Qatar. So we're averaging about 2.4 goals per game. So whilst there's been a number of draws going into half-time that have been goalless, we still have been witnessing quite a number of goals. 2.4. Simon almost caught there, dithering inside his 6-yard area. He did it on one occasion, and then he dallied on the other, and he almost presented an opportunity to Maida, and then he cleared the ball long, and then Williams with his pace gives chase, and Japan now play the ball forward. Flag stays down for the time being. Kamada, now it's raised. He did look offside.
Yeah, he did.
What was Simon doing?
Well, I think he just overthought it a little bit, changed his mind, and before he knew it, I think it was Maida was on him, ready to press him, but he shifted it back onto his right foot. I mean, that is very close. He just chopped it with his left foot, and then in fairness to him, he found a pass with his right foot as the ball was going to go out for a corner, and he just hooks the ball out to Azpilicueta onto his chest, brings it down, casual as you like, plays it into midfield, and all of a sudden, Williams is nearly in behind with a pass, and that is a demonstration of maybe flirting on the edge of danger, but they trust their technical ability, these Spanish players.
Yeah, and certainly Luis Enrique does with his goalkeepers. He's very much, he wants the keepers to be good with their feet, because that's the reason why Brighton's Robert Sanchez and Brentford's David Raya are in this squad, because when they were both called up to the Spain national team, there was an element of surprise by sections of the Spanish media, but that's what they want. They want their keepers to be good with the ball at their feet. Japan are coming forward. Kubo out towards the left-hand side, comes back towards Kubo, inside left channel of the penalty area, plays it back out to Nagatomo, couldn't get a sight of goal there. Kubo takes over once more, helping out with Nagatomo. Inside now to Morita in the centre of midfield. Japan all of a sudden are starting to string passes together. We haven't seen that in the game so far, as they trail by a goal to nil. Japan are going home as it stands. Germany are going through with Spain. Both teams are leading by a goal to nil. Ball played forward now. Ito, right-hand side. This is better from Japan. Ito wins the ball, taken over. Kamada with the shot. Strikes the legs of Pau Torres. Much better from Japan.
Good block from Pau Torres. Just stands his ground. Bolde does really well initially. He very nearly steals this ball as he gets his foot across. I think he's offside, actually, in the build-up to that. Ito looks offside, but Bolde just got his body the right side. The ball goes inside, and Pau Torres is there just to block that, just to almost support his left back in that position.
Nothing materialises from the throw on this near side to right in their royal blue shirts and white shorts, playing from left to right. We've been playing for 37 minutes on BBC Radio 5 Live. And it is still Spain who are leading by a goal to nil. What's the latest? Costa Rica, Germany. Conor McNamara.
Still Costa Rica nil, Germany 1. The goal after 10 minutes by Serge Gnabry. And at the moment, this is enough for the Germans, but they are banging on the door. They want that second. If Japan were to get an equaliser in your game, well, then this one-goal lead mightn't be enough for Germany. And Cara, there's no let-up until they get that second goal. They won't take their foot off the gas, Germany. Absolutely
not. They've been absolutely unbelievably dominant going forward. I mean, Costa Rica pretty much blocking up in the 2 blocks of 5 in front of Keylor Navas. Musala's dominating, loves back foot receive in the pockets. He's turning into space, and the Costa Ricans just can't keep up.
Yes, if Japan were to get an equaliser in your game against Spain, and then it could come down to the head-to-head. And remember, Japan beat Germany, so the Germans could be on their way home. So there's still a bit of jeopardy. Costa Rica nil, Germany 1 for now.
Yep. For that to happen, though, Conor, Japan are going to have an effort on Simon's goal. At the minute, the opportunities for Japan that have offered a little bit of encouragement have either come with the goalkeeper offering a chance to Maida, or a couple of lapses of concentration from Busquets.
There's none on target, is there? I think they've had 2 efforts on goal. Japan, none on target, and that's a problem in their position right now.
Spain lead by a goal to nil. Busquets just invites Rodri to step forward out of the centre of defence. His forward ball through the middle to Morata, the only recognised centre forward in this Spanish squad, starting for the first time. He scored 3 in 3. He's certainly having a good tournament, is Alvaro Morata, which actually means as well with his goal that he's now gone outright 5th in terms of the all-time leading goal scorers for Spain. Morata with his 30th goal for his country. The man who he was level with before tonight was Fernando Hierro. Incredible to think that he got 29 goals in his glittering career.
Unbelievable. But Itakura, the centre-back, has just almost had enough and comes steaming out into midfield and just picked up a yellow card on Busquets, I think it was. But I didn't mind what he did, Deno, because they kind of need to get the centre-backs out of that back line and pressurise it in the midfield. One of them needs to step out and engage with either Pedri, Gavi or Busquets when they have the ball, and just try and apply more pressure in the middle of the park and don't make it so comfortable for Spain.
Well, it's a costly yellow card as well for Itakura, the central defender, because that means if they do go through, he'll be suspended for the last 16. They're attacking. Tanaka, right-hand side. And then very, very well marshalled out behind. It goes for a goal kick. Back to Conor McNamara watching Costa Rica, Germany.
Another chance for Germany, another chance for Serge Gnabry, who should probably have got his second. He shuffled onto his right boot, he's 10 yards out, he puts the shot wide. Might Germany live to regret that? Costa Rica 0, Germany 1.
Producer George is in excellent form tonight. We, of course, were just walking in ahead of the man we were just talking about, Fernando Hierro.
Yep.
He tells me that in January 2005, you actually played against him at St Andrews, and you scored that day for Birmingham against Bolton.
Did I?
Can you remember that far back?
Well, clearly not.
No.
Need to score against a legend like him as well. We saw him on the way in, didn't we? It was, you know, to score that many goals from his position as well.
Yeah.
It was pretty incredible. I just remember him in that Real Madrid shirt a little bit more than the Bolton one. I wonder what memories he finds dearest to himself. I'm sure that time at Real Madrid, I mean, that was an amazing team as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
From what I remember.
Well, it hasn't really aged that much either, as he was behind us, Spain leading by a goal to nil.
He could play tonight at this pace.
Yeah.
You could probably put him out there and he'd stroke it around and be okay.
4 minutes to go to half-time. Germany are leading 1-0, as we've been hearing from Connor and Karen. And Spain are leading here by that Morata goal, scored after 11 minutes. As the ball is chipped over the top by Balde to Olmo, lifts it over the head of Ito, the right wing back. Ito then recovers to get the block in inside the penalty area. Olmo has support from Balde, left-hand side. Pedri, left corner of the box, eventually crosses the ball to Azpilicueta, right-hand side. Spain infield. This is Williams, back to Azpilicueta, passing the ball back to Busquets. He passes it now to Pau Torres. Can't wait to see what the half-time stats are as Busquets plays it behind Olmo and it breaks down. But then they've given it away. Busquets wins it back. Busquets, forward ball. Olmo in the penalty area. Excellent block coming in. That was from Taniguchi, who read the situation well because Olmo was looking for the right-footed shot. But Spain have the ball once again, and they're starting to probe once more with under 3 minutes to go to half-time. Here is Gavi, able to stand still, no pressure on him, to Busquets. Central position, Pedri's forward ball. Olmo goes into a central area, back with Balde on this left-hand side, to Rodri outside the centre circle, across to Azpilicueta, closed down by Kamada. He goes all the way back to Unai Simon, the goalkeeper. Spain lead by a goal to nil. Latest of Germany, Conor McNamara.
Still Costa Rica 0, Germany 1, but Costa Rica have just had a glorious opportunity. Keisher Fuller, the right wing-back who scored in the last game against Japan, taking advantage of a mistake by Raum. Rudiger wasn't able to stop him, and he gets a shot on target, but Neuer was able to push it out for a corner. Garibaldi's alongside me. That's the first time we've seen Costa Rica come forward, and they very nearly gave Germany the scare.
Yeah, it's disappointing from Rudiger. Looks like he just kind of fell asleep and switched off, but fortunately Neuer was there to hit that point-blank save and touch it over the bar.
Wake-up call for Germany. Costa Rica 0, Germany 1.
Yeah, well, they didn't learn their lessons from the game against Japan, and they were 1-0 up, had chances to put the game to bed, didn't do so. And in the end, it was Japan coming from a goal down to win by 2-1. So that sounds certainly like there's a lot more drama in the Al Bayt Stadium than there is here in the Khalifa Stadium, with Spain still very, very comfortable at 1-0.
Taniguchi just coming out from defence there, very similar to the tackle Itakura picked up a yellow card for, and he sees himself with a yellow for it. It's a late challenge on Gavi, but again, Deno, they're having to come out from that centre-back position into midfield, and I think it's harder doing that than if you were to just change formation, get higher up the pitch and just try and press in, because you're always gambling from a centre-back position to try and arrive in midfield, and 9 times out of 10 against these type of players, they're so quick across the ground, you're going to be late. You're going to make that. They're now both on a yellow card. Yeah. They can't come out and dangle a leg in there now. They're going to get another one and get sent off. Yeah. Of the 3 central defenders, and in fact there could be another one here. Yoshida. Yeah. Has now been. So all 3 central defenders have been shown a yellow card. Yeah. Itakura, who'll miss the last 16 should they go through. Taniguchi, who was just booked, and I was about to say 2 of the 3 have been booked, and then Yoshida,
for clattering Morata has now been booked as well. So all 3 central defenders are in the official of the South African referee, Victor Gomez.
Yeah, Yoshida's not too happy with this one. And I maybe make him right. It's not a yellow card, it's a foul. But Morata throws himself on the floor holding his ankle, and he's just letting the referee know. And I think he's spot on, to be honest. It was a foul, but it's not a yellow card. But it's all stemming from the fact the distances are all wrong. He's having to make up too much space to try and arrive and affect the ball, and they're committing these fouls. He's far better off starting a bit higher up.
Just the additional 60 seconds to go in this first half, where it's Japan 0, Spain 1. Spain on course to qualify as group winners. Germany leading by a goal to 0 will be also going through to the last 16, as Azpilicueta controls the ball and then runs forward with pace, 30 yards out from goal. Out it goes to the right touchline. Williams enters the penalty area on the right-hand side and crosses the ball. And it doesn't go out of play for a goal kick. It'll be a throw. Thought that had drifted out, but the referee has said that it will be a throw to Spain.
And he got a deflection.
Down by the corner flag.
Yeah, I think it got a slight deflection, because like you say, the ball looked like it changed angle a little bit. It looked like it was going to go out, didn't it? And it managed to stay in. So I think it just caught.
It's actually a corner. Corner kick that Olmo's going to take on this near side. In it goes. Fisted away by Gonda, the goalkeeper, and the referee blows the half-time whistle. Spain are sitting pretty. Completely in charge. Morata's header after 12 minutes from Azpilicueta's cross, and no real concerns for Spain. Japan are going to have to drastically improve in this second half. So difficult for them because Spain have dominated so much. Matt Hudson.
Yeah, they have dominated, and you expect them to dominate with the ball, but Japan have to get out and be more physical. They have to change their shape a little bit, start to match up, get some pressure on the midfield, and try and push those mistakes that they've very nearly got. Been loose a couple of times with the ball, Spain have got away with it because they do have great quality, but they've got to try and force those mistakes on Spain higher up the pitch. The only way to do that is to get up the pitch, probably change that shape. You know, the back three just marking Morata, it's not going to do it for them. They're going to lose out in midfield, so they have to push in a little bit.
So half-time then here in the Khalifa International Stadium, and Morata only the second Spanish player to score in each of his first 3 World Cup appearances with the all-important goal, and they lead 1-0 at half-time. Kelly.
Thank you, Dano. Ian Dennis and Matthew Upson at the Khalifa Stadium for Japan against Spain. Guillaume Balaguer is also watching on. Guillaume, it was such a controlled first-half performance from Spain. It seems ridiculous to say that a team that started with a 7-0 victory is growing into the tournament.
Sometimes it feels like it doesn't, because yes, we are 1-0 ahead, but it lacks a little bit of finesse in the last third. That's something that Luis Enrique has mentioned already in the previous game as well. So it's fine to have the ball, but you have to do much more with it, I feel. But as the goal came earlier on, it's also down to Japan to make life difficult to us, and they only did so a couple of times on the pressured high. I think that's the way to play Spain, to actually make them very uncomfortable when they build passing, especially when it goes to Unai Simon. I hope you enjoyed that. There's a little bit of excitement when he gets the ball, isn't it? Because you could actually lose it.
It is, and it brings a certain amount of jeopardy into the situation. Matt, on Guillaume's point, and you sort of touched on this earlier, the way for Japan to be able to get back into this game is, yes, to kind of raise their overall levels of performance, but also to disrupt Spain, to make things a bit more difficult for them.
That's what I expected, much more of, and I haven't seen it yet. It's almost like they've turned up, they've with that back 5 that have sat all in one line. So you've got 3 centre-halves marking Morata. The midfield players, Tanaka and Morita, have got absolutely no chance of getting the ball anywhere near the Spain 3. And at that, it's just possession time for Spain. And they've had, what, 14% of the ball, Japan. It's going to be very difficult to score a goal. And also, it just makes Spain look so comfortable. We're saying we saw Hierro on the way in. He could have probably sat in the midfield there in that first half and not been challenged enough.
I just wonder if you have to actually disrupt Spain, as Kelly and I agree on, from the beginning, but you're used to have a medium block or another way of defending, of waiting for the teams to attack you? Can you really switch the team physically, mentally, to a pressure high that will really be effective? It probably is very difficult.
I don't even think, but I don't think they've got to pressure that high, Guillaume. They've just got to get up the pitch and maybe go to a back four and put an extra man in midfield, so you don't allow Spain just to tick the clock down, having endless minutes of possession that is unopposed, because the game's just going to drift away from Japan and it will be gone. And I think there's no worse feeling than that as a player, that you walk off the pitch feeling like we didn't really lay a glove. So you might get beat for, you might concede another 2 goals, maybe, but at least you go down swinging, and I think you want to see that from Japan in this second half.
Matthew Upson and Guillaume Balaguer, thank you very much for now. Guillaume, that was very generous of you to say that we agreed on that point when I'd literally just repeated what you just said. It was pure plagiarism. Guillaume Balaguer there at Japan against Spain. Spain leading by 1-0. Looks like they are going through top of the group as things stand. And also, as things stand, they will be joined by Germany because they're leading Costa Rica by 1-0. Karen Barzi and Conor McNamara watching this one. Conor.
Yeah, Costa Rica 0, Germany 1. The goal from Serge Gnabry after 10 minutes. In truth, Germany have been completely on top. They might have been 2-3-0 up by this stage, but it remains tense here because remember, Germany must win. An equaliser for Costa Rica, Karen, and the Costa Ricans would go through. Germany probably need this insulation of a second goal. Do you think they'll get it?
I mean, they certainly need one, as you say, rightly, and they've had a few warning shots across the bow from Costa Rica, and they're, when Rudiger has switched off, and there have been a few moments of counter-attacking pressure from the Costa Ricans. But, I mean, Musiala has been unbelievable going forward. Gnabry's unbelievable, 1v1 duels and deliveries into the box and shots, so I just don't see how this is possibly going to finish without Germany scoring another goal.
The best chance, the only chance for Costa Rica, Keisha Fuller, who scored the winner against Japan, taking advantage of Raum's error, Rudiger's hesitation, but Manuel Neuer, he's 117th cap from a goalkeeping point of view, Karen. I mean, being able to just switch on and be alert and make that save, that's why he gets paid the big bucks.
Honestly, it's not as easy as it looks. You think, you're just doing out for however long, and then suddenly you're just called into action. It's a testament to his experience and his, presence in the German side.
Right, as things stand, Kelly, Germany are second in the group and going through. As things stand, Costa Rica are bottom. However, 1 goal could change everything, and if Costa Rica could get that 1 goal without replying the second half, they would go through. So still a bit of a drama to come here, I think.
Conor, thank you very much. Conor McNamara and Karen Barzi keeping us across everything that happens between Costa Rica and Germany. Coming up, we're going to have more reaction from the England cricket camp after a superb opening day's play in the first test against Pakistan, and we will focus on rugby union and Eddie Jones' England future. First, though, here's the BBC News on 5 Live with Richard Foster.
Take the World Cup with you. Qatar 2022.
On BBC Sounds, this is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Nearly 1 in 3 patients taken by ambulance to hospitals in England had to wait at least 30 minutes to be transferred to A&E last week. New figures coincide with separate data showing vacancies across NHS England are at a new high. More than 130,000 full-time jobs are currently unfilled. President Macron says France and the United States need to become brothers in arms again now that war has returned to Europe. He's been speaking as he arrived at the White House for a state visit. The leader of the SNP at Westminster, Ian Blackford, has denied claims that his decision to resign was a case of jumping before he was pushed. He's held the position for 5 years, but says it's time for fresh leadership ahead of the next general election. And New York and Singapore have been named as the most expensive cities in the world to live in. It's the first time New York has topped the list. Last year's number 1, Tel Aviv, is now third.
The best live sport.
The FIFA World Cup, Qatar 2022.
Coverage of every game on 5 Live and BBC Sounds.
The stage is left to Marcus Rashford with the free kick. Oh, what a free kick! And that was special!
On Sunday evening at 7, Senegal v England.
We're going to go again, and it's knockout football now, so this is where it becomes a lot tougher.
Take the World Cup with you.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
BBC 5 Live.
The FIFA World Cup, Qatar 2022 with Kelly Cates.
Hello, there's a really big 45 minutes coming up for you in Group E. We've got commentary of Japan against Spain, where it is 1-0 to Spain at the moment. Costa Rica are losing 1-0 against Germany. So at the moment, it's Spain and Germany going through to the knockout stages. But there's already been a World Cup shock this afternoon. Belgium failed to qualify for the round of 16 after a goalless draw against the 2018 finalist Croatia. After the game, manager Roberto Martinez confirmed that he would be leaving the national side.
That was my last game with the national team, and it's emotional, as you can imagine. I can't carry on. Sorry. I'm a person that I like to build things. I've been 6 years in the national team. I arrived with a clear job of qualifying for the World Cup, and then you get so engaged with the project, you get so engaged with the people behind the players, and then we finished with a bronze medal, as you can imagine, and it felt that we had to give it another go, and it's been a real joy. We've been able to build an incredible legacy. I know that a lot of people only see legacy by winning a major tournament. I see it in a different way. I'm so proud of these players, and the real fans in Belgium, they appreciated what this generation are doing.
That was Roberto Martinez leaving the Belgium national side after their exit from this World Cup. Morocco and Croatia are through to the knockout stages. Morocco topped Group F. They beat Canada 2-1 earlier on. More reaction to this on the World Cup Daily podcast, and you can download that via BBC Sounds app a little later on. Meanwhile, England's preparations for Senegal are now well underway. We'll bring you commentary of that last 16 match on Sunday evening on 5 Live Sport and BBC Sounds. Trent Alexander-Arnold has been chatting to Rick Edwards and Emma Saunders.
I don't know if you've seen this. Kathu wants to see a little bit more of you. He was asked about it. He said, I don't understand why he's not playing. He has everything. It's always the same story. They say you are not defensive enough and you remain out. Somebody used to say the same about Roberto Carlos and me, but I think we won something. What's your reaction to that?
Yeah, I did see that. I think obviously he's seen the situation I'm in. He can probably relate to it. He understands how it feels. A legend of the game, someone who I looked up to growing up. So, no, the calm words, and I think, yeah, he's got a point, I suppose.
How deserving do you feel you are of a starting place in that game against Senegal?
I would say I feel like I do deserve to start. Maybe I'm not saying that off how I performed the other day or other people's things. It's just the mentality that I think every footballer has, is that's why there's always disappointment when the team gets named, because you do think you've done enough to play the game. And then if you don't feel like that, then what's the point in really being here? So I think it's always the big thing when you've got squads of this size. You've got 11 players that think you've made the right decision, and you've got 15, 16 that think you've made the wrong decision. So, you can't keep everyone happy. It's not in my hands. All I can do is train and play as well as I can to try and earn that trust and get on the pitch.
Can I ask my question quickly?
Oh, go on, hit us with the hard-hitting stuff.
I've been getting a lot of grief about wearing socks and sliders. Trent, just quick view from you, please.
Good?
Yes!
It's a thumbs
Double
up.
thumbs.
Fine.
Double thumbs from Trent.
That and all the big questions with Trent and Emma and Rick inside the England camp at around 9:30 tonight, right here on 5 Live Sport and BBC Sounds. Tomorrow's commentaries: Ghana against Uruguay at 3 o'clock, with updates of South Korea against Portugal in their group. Then from 7, commentary of Cameroon against Brazil, with updates from Serbia against Switzerland. In the cricket, England's batters in fine form on the opening day of the first test against Pakistan in Rawalpindi. They finished on 506 for 4. They're the first team ever to score more than 500 runs on the first day of a test. 4 players scored centuries, and that's never happened before on day one of a match. Zach Crawley got a century in just 86 balls. That's the fastest by an England test opener, and it breaks Graham Gooch's record.
I'd like to be half as good as Graham Gooch, but I'll take that record. I'm very pleased with that, and hopefully I can beat my record.
There was a heart-in-mouth moment. There must have been when you were on 99. Talk us through it from your point of view. That.
Yes, obviously I hit the ball before to get to 99. Then I saw this big gap at square leg, and for the first time in the day, I went away from my process and tried to play to cross it, and I thought I was out, to be honest, but. luckily I got away with it, and it was a good lesson. You just got to keep playing your game no matter what score you're on.
So did he review just in hope, really, rather than expectation?
Well, Ducky said straight away actually it was going down legs, so I trusted him, and to be fair, on 99 I think I was always going to review that one. I was going to have a look either way, I reckon.
And then the moment itself, very special.
Oh, so special. Even that made it more special actually, getting out, and then because I realised I felt like I'd lost something when I was out. I felt like I was out, and I felt like I missed a big opportunity, and then to score the 100, a couple of balls later was an unbelievable feeling, and a 1 hour treasure.
Well, that was Zach Crawley, but there's much more reaction to today's remarkable events on TMS podcast on BBC Sounds. And the team are back at 4:45 tomorrow morning, ball-by-ball commentary on 5 Sports Extra. Now to the latest strange twist in the future of England Rugby Union head coach Eddie Jones. One of his most trusted advisors has apologised to RFU boss Bill Sweeney after online posts yesterday. The union are deciding whether to sack Jones after a poor run of results. We can speak to our rugby union correspondent Chris Jones. Chris, it's all very odd. Can you make sense of it all for us,
Yeah,
please?
strange and odd are two of the words, Kelly. It focuses around a guy called David Pembroke. Won't mean a lot to a lot of England fans, but he's a very important figure in Eddie Jones's career. Has been for decades. Jones often talks about him in his podcasts and his books about how trusted he is as an advisor and someone who shapes Jones's media strategy. But David Pembroke often finds himself in the comments section of Times Online, having a pop at anyone who has a go at Eddie Jones and generally leaping to Jones's defence. And yesterday, in a series of posts now deleted, he calls Bill Sweeney Slippery Bill and also accuses Sweeney of briefing journalists against Eddie Jones. Now, he has apologised to Bill Sweeney. No suggestion he's at Eddie Jones's views, but it's an embarrassing episode all round, and you have to think it only heightens the tension between the Jones camp and the RFU hierarchy at a time that they are exploring the option of moving on from the head coach.
Chris, thank you very much for that. It certainly makes it clearer, maybe just not easier to understand what on earth is going on. Thank you very much to our rugby union correspondent, Chris Jones. Our focus now back on the World Cup and Group E, where as things stand, Spain and Germany are going through. Germany lead Costa Rica by 1-0. Updates from there and our live commentary matches at the Khalifa Stadium, where Spain are 1-0 up against Japan. Matthew Upson and Ian Dennis are there.
Thanks, Kelly. The changes have been made, 2 for Japan and 1 for Spain at half-time. Dani Carvajal has replaced Azpilicueta at right back for Spain. So they line up with Simon in goal. Back 4 now of Carvajal, Pau Torres, Rodri and Valde. 3 in midfield of Busquets, Gavi and Pedri, and then Olmo, Morata, the goal scorer, and Nico Williams are the 3 up front. So Spain are all in red, and they're playing from left to right as we look against the Japan side in their royal blue shirts and white shorts, who've made 2 changes. Ritsu Doan has come on for Kubo, and the other change is Brighton's Kaoru Mitoma, who has replaced Nagatomo. So it looks still that they're playing with a back 3, but Mitoma at the minute is playing as the left wing back. And in his previous 2 substitute appearances that have totaled just over an hour, the Brighton player has made a difference for Japan. So they line up now with Gonda in goal. Taniguchi, Itakura and Yoshida are the 3 central defenders. Ito and Mitoma are the wing-backs. Tanaka and Morita in the centre of midfield, with Doan, Maeda and Kamada up front for Japan, who need to score 2 goals.
Yeah, I think they'll just... similar shape, but they'll play it differently in the sense that the wing-backs will push higher, be more of a 3-4-3, as opposed to the first half, which was more of like a 5-4-1 really, and they were just sat so deep. So hopefully they'll get the wing-backs higher. Mitoma being one of them, who has had a good impact, hasn't he, in this World Cup, coming on off the bench. So they'll really hope for something from him on that left-hand side.
Yeah, he's done ever so well. I mean, certainly in that game against Germany, to credit Moriyasu, the substitutions that he made, all of them had a positive impact as they came from 1-0 down to win 2-1. And that's the scenario that they need to try and repeat here today, because Germany in the other game are leading 1-0. Morata's downward header, cleared forward by Tanaka. Quickly tidied up by Rodri to Pau Torres, and Torres goes all the way back to Simon. Just showed a little glimpse of the ball there to Maeda, and they're after Spain here, and they're trying to press, a little bit more intensity. And again, Simon, he actually might have just got a little nick there from Maida. They've won the ball here now. Shot fired! Oh, what a start to the second half! Johan with a blistering effort. Japan put real pressure on Spain. The goalkeeper with the clearance, they won it back, and he hit a left-footed shot that the keeper got a hand to it, but he couldn't keep it out. And Japan have levelled 1-1.
Well, the intensity from the Japanese right from the off in this second half has been notably different. Whether or not that was the plan from the off, I have no clue. All I know is that has worked in this second half. They've pressed, they've really put Simon under pressure. He won't be rushed. Spain won't be rushed. They want to be calm and cool and collected on the ball. The first half has indicated that, but Japan have pressed so much better, and it's Dohan, again, with the impact off the bench. He's a cracking strike as well. Gets it onto his left foot. He's got one thing in his mind, he gets his sight set. I think Simon will be disappointed. I really do. He gets two hands across to the ball, but I think it's just the power, Deno, that takes it into the back of the net.
I mean, he did get something on it, but it was a really, really clean strike. And at the moment, Japan now are ahead of Germany. Spain and Japan at the moment are going through.
Wow.
Let's get an update of Costa Rica, Germany with Conor McNamara.
Well, this has certainly spiced things up now, Ian. This is what we mentioned would happen and why we were saying Germany might need more than one goal tonight. The news has filtered through to Hansi Flick and the German backroom staff, and this 1-0 lead they currently hold over Costa Rica, as things stand, will not be enough. There's been a change over the break. Klosterman has come into play at right back. Kimmich's moved back into the midfield. Karen Bardsley's alongside me. This was always highly likely to come into play this evening, that Germany would need 2 goals. They've had so many chances, but the one they've scored, Karen, seems a long time ago now.
It certainly does, and it seems like very, very wasteful chances from the Germans in that first half. And you can see that there's been some adjustments made, pushing Gundo a bit higher. So
Japan are on the attack. Japan here in the penalty area. Joe on towards the far post. He's in. Japan have turned it around. What a dramatic start to the second half. Oh, it's been ruled out for offside. It has been ruled out for offside. And Japan's celebrations are cut short. My word. It was a cross from the left that was headed in on the goal line.
Are they checking?
They will be checking.
I mean, I thought the ball had gone out of play. Deno, it's a step over.
It was Dohan on the right-hand side initially. He went across the face of goal. Simon was struggling, and it was Matoma with a cutback from the left. And I think the ball had gone over the byline, and then it was just knocked in by Tanaka on the goal line. He couldn't miss. I think it came off an outstretched right knee. VAR is looking. VAR is looking at this, but I think that Matoma didn't quite keep it in.
Oh, it's tight, isn't it? Really, really tight. We're talking a fraction of that ball. Whether or not there's a tiny segment of that ball still in contact with the goal line, it didn't look like it on the replay. There's a bit of a nervous wait going on here.
They're having a long look. It's the Mexican referee who's in charge of the VAR, Fernando Guerrero, and they're looking at the ball from Matoma. It was his cutback. He did ever so well to get there.
Ooh,
is all of the ball over the dead ball line?
What an impact as well, Dohan. I mean, coming on off the bench.
And Matoma again.
Unbelievable. So these substitutions are just turning the game on its head for Japan. Still checking. They're obviously not clear.
This is tight. This must be tight. The tension inside the stadium. VAR having a lengthy look as to whether all of the ball had crossed the dead ball line, left-hand side of the goal, before Matoma with the cutback. Victor Gomez, the South African referee, is in the hands of VAR. There have been some questionable VAR decisions regarding offsides and penalties. but this is just down to whether the ball went over. This
it should be clear.
This is a matter of fact. Yeah,
it should be clear cut, shouldn't it? I mean, you've got definitive boundaries.
The goal stands after a lengthy VAR check. Tanaka's goal stands, and Japan have done exactly to Spain what they did do to Germany. They've come from 1-0 down to lead by 2-1, and Japan now are on course to qualify for the knockout stages. What drama at the start of the second half.
Absolutely incredible stuff. I can't recognise this Japanese team that's come out in the second half from the one in the first. It's like a completely different animal. The intensity, the pressure they've applied on Spain, the mistakes they've forced, that's where they've got the opportunities from. Turning over the ball high up in the pitch. They've done it brilliantly again.
So Japan are on course to qualify, and Spain are still on course to qualify, even if they were to lose. If they were to lose, they'd still qualify if Germany, Costa Rica ends in a draw, or if Germany win, providing that Germany don't make up an 8-goal swing. So Germany now have got to try for as many goals as they can, because it's Japan who are in the box seat. You really wouldn't have predicted this, would you?
Not at all. Not at all. I mean, they've just turned it on its head. And when we saw the two subs waiting on the side of the pitch at half-time as the teams were coming out to come on, and you see the numbers, and then you have a look, oh yeah, similar kind of changes, well, similar kind of impact.
So at the minute, it's Spain who would be runners-up. They've got a +6 goal difference. Germany's goal difference at the minute is level. So that's the difference that they've got to try and make it up. That's why it would be Spain going as the runners-up, as they now trail here by 2-1, and they're going to be making a change, a double change for Spain, as
it's a head injury.
There's a head injury over on that far side. Tanaka is the player who's gone down. So we're going to be seeing Asensio coming on and Ferran Torres for Luis Enrique, whose side, their 7-match unbeaten run in a World Cup, only once has it been bettered. But they are now trailing, and exactly what we were saying at half-time. Get after Spain, press them, and that's how the goals have come. But Matoma did exceptionally well.
I mean, all of a sudden, the midfield players of Japan, because they've pressed, they've decided to go, right, we'll go. Tanaka in that goal played a massive part in getting on the ball and feeding the ball wide into Dohan, who crosses it with his right foot all the way across the face of the goal. And they're doing things early. All of a sudden, they've got this mindset, right, we get in position, we put the ball in, we ask the question of Spain, we put them under pressure. It's just completely different to the first half altogether.
Double change is going to be made then here. Let's find out what's happening in that Costa Rica-Germany game with Connor.
Yes, well, it's still Costa Rica 0, Germany 1, and Germany are facing elimination now. If your game stays as it is, they would need to score six more goals here to go through. As it is, they're just hoping that Spain can dig them out of a hole here. At the moment, 1-0. They've brought on Niklas Füllkrug, the man who scored against Spain. They might have to absolutely, we're talking about what's the German for kitchen sink. I think that's already been thrown. They're looking beyond that. Karen's alongside me. I mean, this is frantic knockout football now as the Germans break in. Füllkrug, for the first time in the penalty area, tries to shuffle it back into Musiala, and it's cleared away. Karen.
This is a bit more like it. I'm really looking forward to Füllkrug, watching him come on. He's going to make an instant impact, I think.
Bedlam, absolutely bedlam. As it stands, Germany going out, Costa Rica 0, Germany 1.
Yeah, and Japan qualifying as Group E winners. Ferran Torres has come on for Nico Williams. Marco Asensio has replaced Morata. We've got a story on our hands now. If there was no jeopardy in the first half, there is double jeopardy now for this second half, because a goal could change everything.
Oh, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable to the point where at half-time we're kind of looking at this game like it's a bit dead. It's a bit over. The other game's probably got more incident and excitement and more need to know about, but all of a sudden this has just come to life. And now we've got to have a little look at Spain and say, well, where do you want to finish in the group? Who do you want to play in the next round? Is it Croatia? if top will play Croatia, or second will play Croatia.
But the thing is that even if Spain were to equalise, providing there's not been another goal in that game, then it would still be Japan who would go through. However, having just said that, there has now been a goal. Conor McNamara.
It's gone to total bedlam. Costa Rica have managed to score an equaliser, and it's Yeltsin Tieda after a really good save by Neuer, but he couldn't hold on to the ball, and he bundles it over the line, and possession was lost by Germany in the midfield, and Costa Rica, who've come forward so few occasions in the game. Fuller, who's been the right wing back, who's charging forward when he can. First attempt was saved from the header, following in that man Yeltsin Tieda, and Germany's night has just gone from bad to worse. It's back to 1-1. Karen Bardsley.
Oh, Ram makes a poor effort in midfield, turns the ball over, and then they just cannot recover. It's unbelievable from Costa Rica. What a moment to capitalize on.
Germany go back to where they started today, at the bottom of the group. Germany, who 10 minutes ago were going through, are now bottom of the group. Costa Rica won, Germany won.
This is how it currently looks. Japan top 6 points. Spain, who are second on 4 points. Costa Rica 4 points, and Germany bottom with 2 points. You're listening to BBC Radio 5 Live, or indeed through the BBC Sounds app. We've been playing for nearly an hour, and Japan leading by 2-1 with 2 goals in the space of 3 second half minutes just after the restart. Ball picked up by Gavi on this near side. Gavi holds on to it, runs in field from the right, all in red, playing from left to right. Back it goes to Pau Torres. Out it goes to that far side. Now it's with Olmo, to Pedri. Japan have got everybody back. Now Rodri joins the attack. Carvajal. We think that Azpilicueta, Guillaume Balaguer was saying that to us that Azpilicueta may have picked up a knock. That was why he was replaced by Carvajal at half-time by Luis Enrique. But Spain, so many people's favourites for this tournament, trailing by 2-1. And as Matt Upson quite rightly says, they're now on for a last 16 date with Morocco, and Japan would take on Croatia in the last 16, because Croatia finished top of Group F, Belgium out, Roberto Martinez stepping down, Morocco topping Group F after a 2-1 win against Canada.
The thing is, from Spain's point of view, I think I know who I'd rather play, Croatia or Morocco, wouldn't you? You'd take Morocco ahead of Croatia, wouldn't you, at the moment? From what I've seen, Croatia looking good form.
Here is Pedri. Pedri into the penalty area. Japan managed to get the ball away. Matoma charged down, comes off Gavi. It'll be a Japan throw on this near side, and they're going to bring on Takuma Asano, who got the winner against Germany here on match day 1. Let's go to find out about the latest with Germany with Connor.
Still 1-1, but Germany have just hit the post. Jamal Musiala, who's on the attack again here, giving it to Muller. Muller just wide of the top right-hand corner. But a moment ago, Musiala hit the woodwork, and Germany throwing everything at this as they need to, Karen Bardsley, or they're going home.
It's wide open, and the spaces are appearing everywhere. I just don't see how these shots are not going in. It's just unbelievable. I'm on the edge of my seat.
Incredibly, Germany have had so many chances here, have only scored once. Costa Rica with only 2 chances in the game, and they've scored once and won what it remains for now.
Of course, a Costa Rica win, and Germany and Spain are going out, because at the moment Spain and Costa Rica are both on 4 points, but the first criteria is goal difference, then it's goals scored, and at the minute you've got a goal difference of +6 for Spain and -6 for Costa Rica.
I just thought I had it all covered on that front. You've now just completely thrown me off that Spain might not go through.
Asano, ball played up towards Ito. Ito hooks it into the penalty area, scooped up by Simon. Kamada was making a run, but the midfielder arriving too late. So there is jeopardy in both games. On BBC Radio 5 Live, 62 minutes played. And certainly Spain will want to get back level, because a Costa Rica goal will turn this group completely upside down.
I mean, they're vulnerable to that now, aren't they?
They are.
Which is, you know, that they don't want that out of their own hands. It's the first time they've felt they're not in control at this moment. And, you know, it could play right into Japan's hands, if I'm honest, because they're going to have to come out and go forward and take a couple of risks and leave Pau Torres, Rodri at the back, and this Japanese team's looking rampant at the moment on the break.
Matoma out to Doan. Doan on the edge of the area, tries to thread it through for the run of Tanaka. What's strange is that they're showing more ambition now, leading 2-1, than when they were trailing in the first half in a game that they had to win.
It's just like they've parked the fear. It's gone. It's like they've got rid of it. The first half was very cagey. They played within themselves. They've come out in this second half, and I don't know what the team talk was, or whether or not that was the actual plan. Who knows? But they're a different team at the moment, and they're enjoying this position now. Something to hang on to. They're digging in. They're really, you know, enjoying this moment of Spain having to get out of their comfort zone and go and score a goal, and it's just going to leave Spain a little bit more open.
Ball played forward away from Olmo, and in the end it was Yoshida who was felled, and he'll win a free kick. Also, as well, remember in that first half, all three central defenders for Japan, Yoshida, Itakura and Taniguchi, were booked. Itakura, incidentally, would be suspended for the last 16 as a result, and he's been one of 5 players who started every game so far for Japan. We're on a knife edge in both of the games. But Japan leading here by 2-1, and Costa Rica 1, Germany 1. Away from the substitute, Asano, and out for a goal kick. Spain, who've won their final group game in 8 of the last 9 World Cups. The exception was actually against Morocco in a 2-2 draw in Russia. They could be facing Morocco once again, as it stands. But a Costa Rica goal, and Spain and Germany are going out.
That would be unbelievable.
It would be unbelievable. Here is Kamada. Japan lead 2-1. Tanaka. Doan. E2 going ahead of him. Japan get a throw on the right-hand side. So such a stark contrast to the performance again.
Oh, just look at the wing-back over the far side there, E2. All of a sudden, he's on an overlap outside of the attacking right-sided play, which is Dohan. And he's there in a flash, then, in the first half. He just wouldn't have got up there. He would have just stayed back and sat in that defensive line in the back 5, allowed Dohan to have the ball, and they would have probably turned it over, lost it, Spain got it back, and then they're back on a wave of attack. But not in this half. They're on the overlap, even at 2-1 now. They've still got the same mindset as when they started the second half at 1-0 down.
Guillaume Balaguer, who was with us at the start and at half-time, he looked quite relaxed, didn't he? He was smiling. Didn't really sense that Spain would be in any danger, but the way that the events have transpired in this second half, there is that peril now, as it's going to be a goal kick to Spain, and they take it quickly. Spain trailing 2-1, 1-1 Costa Rica against Germany. Carvajal inside. Spain are going to be making another double change, and it's going to be Jordi Alba, who's one of the players who's going to be coming on. I would imagine that he would replace Balde over on that left-hand side, and then Ansu Fati is the other player coming on. For when he played in the warm-up game against Jordan on November the 17th, he'd gone over 2 years without an appearance in the Spanish setup. So it was somewhat of a gamble for his inclusion by Luis Enrique, and they will need his first appearance at this World Cup now to pay off. For Japan, for Spain rather, just to sit a little more comfortably. The change is going to happen now. We'll take advantage of that and go to Conor McNamara.
Midway through the second half, it's a frenzy. Costa Rica won, Germany won, and Germany have hit the post again. And it's Jamal Musiala again. Second time he's hit that same post in the game. The Germans, well, they brought on Havertz, they brought on Füllkrug, but what else can they do now? Karen Bardsley's alongside me.
I'm not really sure there's anything else they can do. They've been absolutely exceptional going forward, and I just cannot believe that ball hasn't found the back of the net for Musiala. He's been outstanding.
Incredible that Costa Rica, who lost 7-0 to Spain last week, if they could get one more goal here, they'll be knocking Spain out. 1-1 for the moment.
Thank you, Conor. Thank you, Karen. We're still awaiting Fati to come on. Jordi Alba has replaced Balde. And now Ansu Fati comes on. He actually scored in that game against Jordan. So he has come on, and it's Gavi who has gone off, and Japan are also making a change, and it is going to be Kamada who is coming off. Been in excellent form for Eintracht Frankfurt this season, and it's going to be Tomiyasu, Arsenal's Takehiro Tomiyasu, who's had calf issues, real doubt coming into this game for him. So that is a defensive change that is being made by Moriyasu.
Yeah, I think Tomiyasu's going to drift over to that right-hand sided defence. I think Ito's just shifted over to the left, so they've brought on a defensive player for Kamada, who's very much an attacking midfield player, and they've just shuffled the team a little bit to allow Tomiyasu over to that right wing-back position. It's just a move just to try and make them more solid. I think they're still going to try and get high and press, but just a change of skill set of individual personnel.
A night of fluctuating fortunes, and there is still enough time, with just over 20 minutes of normal time remaining, for Group E to change again. But as it stands at the moment, oh, hold on, because there's been another goal. Conor.
Ian, I can't believe I'm about to say this sentence. Deep breath. Costa Rica 2, Germany 1, and the ball's been shuffled in by Juan Pablo Vargas. Germany's statuesque defence couldn't keep it out. It was a free kick lobbed into the penalty area by Joel Campbell, and Costa Rica have got the goal that could be eliminating not just Germany, but Spain as well. This is out of this world. Gareth Bardsley.
That's just a jammy goal. Not being funny. What a free kick that was into the box, but the header, well contested. Honestly, it just looked like no one could make a decision in terms of who to come, and it just rolled into the back of the net.
Manuel Neuer just couldn't react. You've never seen anything like this in your life. Costa Rica 2, Germany 1.
As it stands, Japan are going through as group winners. Costa Rica are going through as Group E runners-up. Spain and Germany are 19 minutes away from being both eliminated at this World Cup. What a dramatic night.
I just can't believe it. I cannot believe the turnaround in this second half, and I'm just watching a slow motion replay of another chance for Japan. Should have scored.
Yeah.
Easy. It was a great delivery from the left, ball right across the face, and I think it's Asano who came on with his right foot, didn't connect cleanly, but a great chance to score. And Spain, wow, I mean, I'm not sure if the players know yet, but they've got to step up the intensity here.
Spain need a goal. Spain are going out.
Incredible.
They're trailing by 2-1. It is such a remarkable night, especially given the comfort that they were in. There is certainly no luxury now for these Spanish players. Real danger, trailing 2-1.
I haven't seen any activity on the Spanish bench yet, have you? Nobody's kind of running out and putting messages out to the team and looking flustered at all.
What a double whammy it would be in terms of a scalp for Japan, and in the manner to as well have come from behind against Germany and Spain. Here is Olmo running forward on the right-hand side, all in red, playing from left to right. Costa Rica, they lead Germany by 2-1. Germany squandering another lead in this World Cup. Asensio passes the ball out towards the far side. Well, certainly now the people inside this stadium know all about it as a cross from the left, because the Group E leaderboard has just been put up on the giant screens inside the Khalifa Stadium.
Just in case they didn't know.
Here is Olmo, turns into the penalty area. Japan have got so many blue shirts back inside that penalty area. If you weren't aware of it before, you are now. And we're keeping you bang up to date on 5 Live. Back to Conor McNamara.
Well, the drama never stops, because Kai Havertz off the bench for Germany has just got the ball into the back of the net, and it's 2-2. Germany desperately needed that. It may not be enough for them, but it could save Spain. Ball into the penalty area, left-hand side. Costa Rican defenders are absolutely exhausted. Havertz is onside as he puts it beyond Navas, and it's Costa Rica 2, Germany 2. And the drama isn't over yet.
But a Spain goal here would actually take Germany through, because their goal difference would be level, but Germany would have scored more goals. So Germany now be hoping that Spain can level. They're on the attack with Ferran Torres into the penalty area. Challenge comes in, they're looking for a penalty. Looked like Ferran Torres was brought down there. The bench down below are pleading for a penalty. Meanwhile, it continues. Shot blocked by Asensio. Spain still behind. They, of course, now won't know what's going on. Spain will want their equaliser themselves. 2-1 down. Ball played forward by Carvajal. Towering header away by Taniguchi.
Here we go. The group's now up on the big board.
And now the Spanish flags are being waved inside the stadium. Huge sigh of relief from the Spanish supporters here inside the Khalifa International Stadium, and the Spanish journalists who are alongside us are also breathing a little more comfortably as well. A Spain goal, though, could help Germany. Cross comes in from Ferran Torres, headed away. We have 16 minutes remaining of normal time. I might need a stiff drink after this.
There is a long way to go. Think of the injury time then alone.
I might have to have a full fat Coke.
Yeah.
Here is Olmo.
Live a little.
Out to Ferran Torres. Torres delivers the cross, chips it into the penalty area. Excellent header away by Itakura. The defending deep. Picked up on this near side. Rodri finds Pedri. Slight figure, the young midfielder, out towards the far side. Quite a high line, but playing in front of Japan at the moment.
Yeah, Japan very much the back 5 now. They've just kind of retreated a little bit, and Spain are pushing further and further forwards. They have to get out, the midfield have to get out a little bit more. It'll help the back 5 if they can get a bit more pressure on the ball.
2-2 in the other game, 2-1 here to Japan. No foul. South African referee says it's a goal kick. Can't recall with 2 sets of games on the final day of a group game where it has changed so much.
On its head. Multiple times. I mean, the thought that Japan could actually go out is just enough to say, well, look how well they've done in this game, in this tournament, and they could actually end up out of the tournament. It's incredible.
I've got a feeling that Iniesta, who's here in the stadium, I've got a feeling he's watching the Germany game on his phone. Either that or he's listening to BBC Sounds, because we're keeping you up to date. Conor McNamara.
2-2 Costa Rica, Germany, and Germany so close to scoring. Keylor Navas, the Paris Saint-Germain goalkeeper, spreading his body wide. Full creek shot's good on target. He saved it with his forehead. Anywhere will do, and they put it out. Costa Rica still need another goal here to get back into the contention to go through. 2-2 for the moment. Both of these teams been eliminated as things stand.
Yeah, Costa Rica and Germany going home. Japan going through as group winners. Spain trailing by 2-1 as runners-up. If Spain can equalise, though, it'll be the 2 European sides who will be going through. And that is not even taken into consideration if Costa Rica can get themselves in front. What drama on BBC Radio 5 Live. 13 minutes of normal time remaining. Ball played by Rodri. Ferran Torres on this right-hand side, level with the area, playing from left to right, all in red, looking towards Olmo. Olmo outside the box, now goes towards Asensio. Asensio turns, right corner of the area, looks for a shooting opportunity, chips and curls the ball over. Fati directs his header away towards that far side. It's picked up by Pedri, little touch by Carvajal, back towards Pedri once again. Pedri strokes it infield. Rodri looks like he's going to shoot from distance, then he takes it one touch too far, plays the ball out towards Carvajal on the right hand side. Japan have got every blue shirt back behind the ball. Spain looking for that opening, one touch passing, keeping it moving. Pedri floats the ball over towards Fati. Itakura with a header away, drops towards Fati once again, plays it out towards that far side, the left, cross, edge of the area, turned by Asensio, man over on the left, comes in first time, cleared away by Morita.
Good clearance as well. Sometimes not easy when the ball's bouncing in front of you. Got to keep your eye on it, not swing too hard to get too much distance. He got a good side foot, just punched the ball clear.
Carvajal, little touch now to Rodri. Rodri finds Pau Torres forward of the centre circle in the Japan half.
I don't know about you, Deno, but when I hear we're going to Connor, I'm just bracing myself in the seat for another goal or the picture to change again.
If you want to just listen back through BBC Sounds to the start of the second half, because you've got the rewind facility to do that, that mad, chaotic 4-5 minutes of just pure mayhem. We were hearing from a goal from Connor and Karen, and then Japan, and that lengthy VAR wait, then went 2-1 up. I mean, it was just pure chaos.
It's calmed down a little bit though, hasn't it? The Spanish bench and the supporters seem a little bit calmer since they've seen that revised table go up on the big screen.
But a Costa Rica goal and it all changes, and that's what Spain can't rely on. Out it goes to Fati, left-hand side. Fati infield. Little touch from Pedri, blocked by Dohan.
He's been good, isn't he? Dohan, so, you know, the impact he's had off the bench.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I mean, how he must feel that he's not starting the game.
2 goals for him in this tournament. He got the equaliser against Germany, got the equaliser here against Spain. The Freiburg midfielder. Here is Olmo, shoots from distance, headed away by Taniguchi, picked up by Carvajal, out to this side to Ferran Torres, looks to go on the outside of Matoma. They've doubled up on him now as well, and in fact it was good work on this side. They've given it away by Morita. Closing down in the midfield though was Dohan, heads it forward to Asano. The red shirts of Spain win it back.
It's camped in their half now, aren't they? Japan have to be a little bit careful. I know you're at that stage of the game, Spain are probing, but it is literally just camped in that Japan half. Rodri and Pau Torres are probably 5-10 yards over the halfway line, and it's just a probing session. How they keep the ball, can they find that little piece of movement? Is there a Japanese defender who's just going to switch off for a split second and allow that run to go off the back of them, not get the right angle, not cut the right channel of pass? Though they're looking for that tiny little mistake every time. It's all about focus and concentration now for Japan.
You're listening to 5 Live, and I make no apologies to keep reminding you of the scoreline and the scenario as the ball is rolled forward towards Fati. The return ball from Asensio. Fati forced out wide, looking for the cutback, and it's going to be a goal kick, says the South African referee. So it remains Japan 2, Spain 1 here, Costa Rica 2, Germany 2, and in Group E, Japan and Spain, as it stands, are going through. Spain will edge out Costa Rica. Well, actually, it won't edge them out on goal difference because of their handsome win against them in the first game. But that is the criteria to settle the two. And the reason I keep on repeating it is to A, keep you in touch, but also to remind me and Matt that we've got it right. Here's Conor McNamara.
Yes, 2-2 it remains into the final 10 minutes. Costa Rica against Germany. Costa Rica who had that 2-1 lead, and we're at that moment in time and eliminating the 2 big guns from the group. One more goal from Costa Rica, Ian, as you said, can change everything, but the Germans are the ones applying the pressure. They throw everything, but really they need Spain to help them out. This is incredible, Karen Bardsley.
Worried about your blood pressure, frankly. This is exciting.
Costa Rica have a chance to become legends here, and I think around the world, think of how many people will be cheering them on. The clock is ticking, About 8 minutes plus the stoppages to go. 2-2 here.
We have 8 minutes remaining as well. A goal for Spain would eliminate Japan and take Germany through. As Japan, though, have been awarded a free kick on this near side the left, 10 yards in from the left touchline, nearly 30 yards out from goal.
If Karen's worried about Connor's blood pressure, do we need to call a doctor? Because this is getting heated, isn't it? I can tell. You're in the flow, you're in the rhythm, Deno. It's all happening.
Well, there is still enough time to change. And remember, with the additional time, the lottery of the additional time, we could be playing for another 6-7 minutes in either game. They looked offside there as the header from Itakura from the free kick from the left was comfortably saved by Simon.
I think they were onside as well.
Or were they onside?
I think so. I mean, I think because they timed the run, they didn't start the wrong side. The hands went up, the flag never went up. I know the goalkeeper called it, so we might not know, but I thought they timed their runs quite well there.
Free kick against Japan. It was Brighton's Matoma for the challenge on Asensio. They've taken it quickly. Asensio floats it forward. Cushion header down by Yoshida. Helped further clear by Morita in the midfield. Spain, though, get it back on the halfway line. 7 minutes remain of normal time here in the second half in the Khalifa International Stadium.
It's not been a lot of stoppages either, has there? Quite a lot of subs, but can't remember any notable injuries.
No. Matoma trying to get her foot into the challenge. Asensio playing on the right-hand side, keeps the ball in play. Carvajal is forced to retreat. Now finds Pau Torres, left side of the centre circle. On the halfway line, Pedri takes over, passes the ball forward. Jordi Alba with a low cross. Struck the heels of Itakura. Morita plays it up towards Asano, looking to turn inside his own half. He's got the supporting run. Oh, that was a blatant check, but it will run through nevertheless. And it will run through towards Ito, who was making the run.
I thought for a split second there Ito had the legs on Jordi Alba, or was it Carvajal from right back recovering? I really thought he was going to get the wrong side of him then. The Spanish right back just recovered in time.
Germany are requiring Spain to score, otherwise the Germans are going out. If Costa Rica were to score, then Spain and Germany will be going out. And hold on to your hats, there's been another goal. Conor McNamara.
Kai Havertz is certainly the party pooper for Costa Rica. Off the bench, he's got his second goal here. Costa Rica 2, Germany 3 for the second time in the game. The Germans lead. Cross from Serge Gnabry in through the penalty area. Havertz arriving at the far post, finishing so calmly with everyone losing their head around him. He keeps his cool. Germany back in front, but as things stand, it won't be enough for them. They move to third place for now. They still need Spain to score, Deno.
Cross comes in from the left-hand side. Japan get the ball away. Germany now require a big favour from Spain, who are attacking. So Spain are safe. The way that it's turned out now, with Germany leading by 3 goals to 2. The only scenario now for Spain to go back out is for Costa Rica to score 2. As the ball is played in from the right-hand side by Asensio, cleared away. A goal here for Spain would break Japanese hearts, and we have 4.5 minutes remaining.
Unbelievable stuff here. I mean, the tension is absolutely incredible. And Spain, off of that news, they're not easing up, are they? They're not looking to think, OK, we're comfortable, let's just make sure we're all right. They're going to keep going. They're keeping asking the question. They're searching for that goal. And Japan just have to hang on.
Rodri passes the ball out. Asensio. Ball then with Rodri back towards Asensio. They're looking for the European Union. Germany for Spain, they're looking for a little favour.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not sure if they're going to get it. You know, this defensive setup that Japan have had in this second half has been very effective. I mean, they've limited very few chances to Spain. And it's partly because they've been more on the front foot, even in a defensive sense. They've just taken the game that little bit higher, really competed well.
Tanaka is coming off, he's being replaced by Endo. Plays his football in Stuttgart, defensive midfielder. He'd been a doubt ahead of this game. He'd started the first 2 matches, he comes on for the last 3 minutes as they try to keep Spain at bay. Japan, who are looking to qualify for the knockout stages of consecutive tournaments for the first time. If they concede, they will be going out because Germany will have scored more goals. Germany, who are leading against Costa Rica by 3-2. Rodri to Asensio, right-hand side. Matoma tries to hold him off, short diagonal ball cleared away. That Japanese back line really isn't moving. Matoma is sent scampering forward as he slides and drops to his knees, and Rodri in the foot chase sees it back towards Simon.
He just needed to get that ball there, Matoma. I think he beat Rodri to the ball, but he wasn't brave enough to get his body across him and have his first touch away from him. If he runs away with that ball there, the difference that makes to his teammates to win a foul, win a throw-in, higher up the pitch, and just take the pressure off for a split second.
Ball played up to the edge of the area. Ferran Torres looking to turn. No room to turn, no room to manoeuvre. Cleared away by the vastly experienced Yoshida. Clears long. Pau Torres picks it up midway through his own half. 2 minutes of normal time remaining. 5 Live. Here at the Khalifa International Stadium. Germany, as it stands, are going out with Costa Rica. Japan will qualify as Group E winners. Here is Rodri. Ball played back towards Pau Torres. Pedri waits alongside him on the left. Rodri getting further and further forward. Asensio on this right-hand side. Asensio with a cross into the penalty area. Comes to the edge of the area. Shot by Alba, charged down by Japan. Ball breaks back to the centre circle. Spain are knocking at the door. Germany are hoping that they can score. In comes the cross, but it's repelled once more. We're going back to Conor McNamara.
Well, bit of drama here. VAR review. Fulcrum had the ball at the back of the net, but he looked him in an offside position as the ball came in.
Shot still. Cleared away. Sorry, Conor.
Information from the officials. Certainly as the ball comes into the penalty area, Fulcrum is offside. Then it's nodded to him. Does it become a new phase by the time it comes out? If this goal is allowed to stand, Germany would still need
ball
5
back towards
more to knock out Spain.
Olmo with a shot saved by the keeper. We cannot miss the opportunity here at the Khalifa International Stadium, because the goal would have repercussions not just here but also for Costa Rica, Germany. And that was an excellent save, because Olmo in the penalty area just gathered in by Gonda.
That's a brilliant save, and a brilliant one too as well. And Olmo, he's in on goal. He's going to be so disappointed with that chance. He doesn't connect properly with it. Brilliantly worked by Spain, just a really quick 1-2, but he hits his strike into the ground, allows Gonda the opportunity just to get his hands on it. Should have been a goal, Deno.
That was the moment for Spain to equalise. That was the moment that could have taken Germany with Spain into the knockout stages to eliminate Japan. That's how tight it is. That's how tense it is. Japan leading by 2-1. And we're going to find out how much added on time there will be. We'll need to find out how much added on time, likewise with Conor's game. We've got 7 minutes here. 7 minutes of additional time. 7 minutes for Spain to lend a helping hand for Germany.
That could be a long 7 minutes for Japan, couldn't it? It's absolute siege mentality down on that pitch at the moment. Just lines of blue shirts all together, all pulling in one direction, organising, keeping those distances really narrow, not allowing any red shirts, any pockets of space in front of the 18-yard box where they can work those little 1-2s like they do so brilliantly, Spain.
They'll hope that it's 7 heaven for those minutes to tick by, but in that intervening period it's going to feel more like hell for Japan as they cling on here, because a goal changes everything. And Spain once again have the ball with Pau Torres. They work it out towards Fati. They've got the width, left-hand side. Fati waiting. Japan have got everybody back. The little flick will not come off. Gonda will gather it in. Conor, how long have you got left in your match?
Well, first of all, Deno, the goal has stood after the VAR review, so we're waiting to see. They haven't put up the times for the stoppages, but 4-2 in this game. Germany would need 5 goals more for them to keep it in their hands. They need a Spain goal more than anything to put them through. We're into stoppages, yet to confirm how many.
OK, thank you, Connor. So Germany 4-2 up. They need a Spain equaliser as Japan lead by 2-1. And then it would be Spain and Germany going through. But at the minute, it's Japan and Spain on a night of high drama in Qatar. Asensio can't keep the ball in play. And there was cheers from the Japanese support of 2 minutes of the 7 have already ticked by.
Well, they've got to try and tick a few more by, and mistakes or loose passes like that by Spain certainly does help the cause. I know that they're going to be in too much of a rush to take this throw in. Just try and get the ball up the other end of the pitch. And, you know, winning a foul or a throw in is just vital for them at the moment.
Ito. Mitoma can't keep it in as he ran down this near left touchline. Carvajal wants to take the throw quickly. It was never realistic to expect an 8-goal swing in Germany's favour. They would have been hoping that Japan didn't win this game. So as far as Germany are doing, they've done as much as they can realistically. But who would have predicted that scintillating start to the second half from Japan? Leading by 2-1, and they're about 4 minutes away of injury time from booking their place in the last 16. Carvajal.
There's going to be another chance. You just know it. In that time, there's enough time for Spain to manufacture something.
Pau Torres drives it powerfully into the heart of that Japanese defence. Endo, the substitute, volleys the ball away. Out it goes for a throw on that far side. Spain want to take it quickly. But there's a Japanese defender. Is it Yoshida? No, in fact, it's the midfielder, Hidemasa Morita, who has gone down. A touch of cramp, and I'm not surprised.
I am not surprised. He has been everywhere. Those two in the middle of the park got the real run around in the first half, but the second half, they've been trying to press a lot higher. He's put a lot of work in the heart of the team for Japan.
Ball is played forward. With Germany leading by 4-2, the jeopardy for Spain has disappeared. It's now a question of Japan or Germany who'll be going through. And we've got 3 minutes remaining of added on time here on BBC Radio 5 Live. Ball played forward by Carvajal. Ferran Torres, right-hand side of the penalty area. It's a heavy cross from the right-hand side. Kept in play, though, by Jordi Alba. Plays it back, 6 yards. Now towards Pedri, hits a low, flat ball in, cleared by Yoshida and helped further away. And they'll only chase after it a certain period. They do not want to come out. They do not want to give that space for Spain to get in behind Japan.
Well, Tomiyasu just puts his foot through the ball and literally sprints straight after, almost like a rugby kick up in the air. Once he realised he wasn't going to get there, he did exactly that. Disengaged, dropped back into that right-sided position, and that back 5 now all in a line, about 10 yards outside the 18-yard box, just shuffling about, getting their distances right. Spain with the ball, but Japan just cannot allow any more chances.
Germany's World Cup participation here in Qatar rests on Spain in the next 2 minutes. 2-1 to Japan. Carvajal on the right-hand side. Asensio level with the penalty area. Asensio with a low cross, cleared away by Endo. There were 7 blue shirts in and around their penalty area. They're well drilled, they're organised, they're disciplined. Spain will come knocking once more. Fati. By and large, though, they've played in front of this Japan defence. 90 seconds remain on 5 Live. Olmo picks it up, shoots, drags it wide, and it was always going well wide off a tired right-footed shot. And it's a goal kick, and Gonda is in no hurry to pick up that ball by the advertising hoardings.
In fact, the referee is so aware of it. He's just loitering around the edge of the 18-yard box, making sure the Japanese goalkeeper doesn't waste any time and isn't, you know, taking too long to get that ball and put it in position for this goal kick.
The Japanese supporters, a pocket of them towards our left-hand side, are preparing to celebrate. The Japanese flags are flying with a larger vast of blue shirts on that far side, because we're 50 seconds away. It's either Germany or Japan, and the high ball is guided back by Itakura, and Gonda just falls on the ball, cradles it safely in his arms. And now Japan will push out, because we have 30 seconds remaining. And Germany, who were knocked out in Russia by South Korea, are now going to be eliminated in Group E by Japan. The camera is trained on the substitutes down below. They've all linked their arms. They're preparing to celebrate. The 7 minutes of additional time is over. We're now in the hands of the referee. And he's blown his whistle. Germany, despite winning, auf Wiedersehen. They've been eliminated. And Japan are going through. They came from behind against Germany. They've come from behind against Spain. But they're going through as Group E winners. And for the first time in consecutive tournaments, Japan have qualified for knockout stages of the World Cup. Beaming smiles down below. And what a night of high drama. And Conor McNamara, Germany's win, not enough. Eliminated yet again.
They don't know it yet, but their goose is cooked. Germany are out of the World Cup here. They would need to score 5 goals in the remaining 2 minutes of stoppages. No miracle is going to achieve that. And Germany, who tonight have had to come from behind to take this lead, 4-2. They lead Costa Rica. 2 goals from Kai Havertz off the bench. A goal for Füllkrug. 2-2 for him off the bench for Germany. Gnabry got the first one, but it's all been in vain. This late flurry of goals. They've been shooting fish in a barrel, but the fish are still swimming around in there. Karen, Germany are out, and yet they play on, and the full reality of this is yet to sink in.
I don't even know what their faces are going to look like when this final whistle goes and they realize that they're out of the tournament. It's just been an unbelievable game. Like, the differences between the first and the second half and the confidence that Costa Rica have on the ball, the Germans just look so deflated.
If you're just joining our coverage on 5 Live and on BBC Sounds, at one stage tonight Costa Rica were leading here, and that was going to eliminate both Germany and Spain. It's been a night of absolute high drama. Remember, all games available to listen to on 5 Live and BBC Sounds, but Germany were able to steady the ship here from 2-1 down. They've turned it around to lead 4-2. However, in that scenario, we said it right from the start tonight, Germany must win, and then if they win, they need Spain not to lose. But Japan's 2-1 win in the Khalifa Stadium against the Spanish has made this virtually mission impossible for Germany. They would need 5 more goals on top of the 4 they have. Into the penalty area comes Musiala, who's hit the woodwork twice tonight, now followed up by Serge Gnabry. Into the penalty area again. Musiala dribbling like he's in a school playground, shoots with his left foot, and it's saved by Keylor Navas. And Costa Rica breathe again as the ball is thrown out by Keylor Navas. They've had some grueling experiences to this World Cup. They were beaten 7-0 by Spain, but at one stage tonight they led the Germans, and we thought it might be a historic continuation in the tournament for Costa Rica. Those late German goals will eliminate them, but it won't be enough to save Germany as we play on. We've played the 10 minutes here, but the female referee Stephanie Frappart, first time we've had an all-female team of officials in charge of a World Cup game, blows the final whistle, and that is it. The scene that Germany win a game but do not celebrate. Hansi Flick looks like he's just going to a funeral. His team have managed to win the game, but Germany are down and out. Their players are down on their haunches. They have won 4-2, but there's no victory here. For the second World Cup in a row, Germany go out in the group stages.
It's disbelief. I actually can't believe what I'm seeing in front of me. I mean, it just, so many missed opportunities, just not clinical enough. There was no shortage of creation in front of goal, but it's unbelievable. Some really poor defending and some really poor goalkeeping as well.
One of the really big guns, one of the 4-time winners of the World Cup, are out of Qatar 2022. It's the end of the line for Germany. They have beaten Costa Rica 4-2, but it's one of those nights when it's simply not been enough.
Connor and Karen, thank you very much. So Germany did what they had to do. They got the 4-2 victory, but it wasn't enough, and they are out of this World Cup. A 40 victory coming against Costa Rica. They finished bottom of the group. There is anguish on German faces at the Al Bayt Stadium, but inside the Khalifa Stadium, on the faces of the Japan players and on the faces in the crowds. It looks like anguish, but it is tears of joy, huge emotion as they reach the knockout stages of a World Cup for just the only time consecutively. That's consecutive last 16 places for Japan for the very first time in their football history. The players do not want to leave the pitch. The fans do not want to leave the stadium. And that's where we find Matthew Upson and Ian Dennis. Deno, what an evening and what a turnaround for Japan.
Incredible. It doesn't do it justice, the way that the group and the drama just fluctuated throughout the course of a second half as the players down below have just been having a huddle, and in the centre of that huddle is their 54-year-old coach, Jaime Moriyasu, who, just as he did against Germany, made tactical changes that really made such a difference, because he brought on Doan and Mitoma at the start of the second half, and within minutes it paid dividends, and that's when the fun started. I feel as if we've had a game of the footballing equivalent of snakes and ladders in Group E, because Doan with a blistering shot after 48 minutes got them level, and then after a lengthy VAR delay, Tanaka with the goal just 3 minutes later, and they did exactly what we, Guillem and yourself, were talking about, to get after Spain, and that's how the goals materialised at the start of the second half. And then they defended superbly, and by and large Spain played in front of Japan in that second half, and when Germany were clearly doing their bit, they needed Spain to equalise, because once Germany were ahead, the jeopardy and the peril that Spain were in at one stage had disappeared, and obviously Japan stood firm, and that's the reason why Germany have gone out.
What an evening it's been. As Deno was saying, it's gone every which way in terms of who qualifies from this group. When Spain got the first goal of the evening, they and Japan were progressing to the knockout stages. Germany then scored to make it 1-0 against Costa Rica. At that stage, Spain and Germany were both progressing from the group. That's the way it was at half-time, when it all seemed relatively calm. Straight after the break, though, Japan got 2 goals in really quick succession. That meant it was back on for Japan, and they were joining Spain in the last 16. A couple of minutes later, Costa Rica got 2 goals within the space of 12 minutes. At that stage, Japan and Costa Rica were through, and Spain and Germany were out. But Germany's equaliser against Costa Rica meant that Spain would progress with Japan. Germany's goal that took them in front by Kai Havertz, and the one that made it 4-2 from Füllkrug, made no difference, because it was all down to goals scored, and Germany could not turn that around against a Spain side who had that 7-0 victory against Costa Rica on the opening game of this World Cup. So, to recap, it is Spain and Japan who are through to the last 16. Costa Rica and 4-time winners Germany are out. We'll reflect on that after the BBC News with Richard Foster.
Take the World Cup with you. Qatar 2022.
On BBC Sounds, this is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Ambulance wait times outside A&E units in England have reached the highest level on record. More than 11,000 crews a week, that's 1 in 7, have been waiting for an hour or more. Special rooms are now being introduced in every part of England to help divert ambulances and monitor staffing levels. Dr Vinda Walker is the Medical Director for Secondary Care at NHS England.
Certainly, they're very effective in helping you make best use of the resources that you have available. The difference is that previously we had to stand up these centres as a reaction when we had very bad periods of pressure on the NHS. This is the first time we've set these up so that they are available and open all of the time.
Rishi Sunak has promised more police powers to tackle illegal protests. The Prime Minister says it's completely unacceptable that people are having their lives disrupted by what he calls a selfish minority. The Home Secretary, Suella Braverman, has met police to discuss tactics used by environmental groups like Just Stop Oil. A man from East Sussex has been told he could face a whole life sentence after being found guilty of murdering 2 women. Mark Brown met Alexandra Morgan and Leah Ware on an escort website and killed them in separate attacks last year. Police read out a statement on behalf of Leah Ware's family.
She was very trusting and cared deeply, and it was those qualities in Leah that Mark Brown exploited for his own gratification. He betrayed Leah's love and trust, and even now, he won't allow her the dignity and respect of a proper burial will allow us to have the answers we so desperately need and deserve.
A black British charity campaigner who was repeatedly asked where she was really from at a royal reception says the questions felt like an interrogation. Lady Susan Hussey has resigned as a royal aide and has apologised for the comments which she made to Ngozi Fulani. And the clothing chain Joules has been rescued from administration by its founder Tom Joule and Next. The deal's worth £34 million. Next is planning to keep around 100 Joules stores open and save 1,500 jobs, but 19 shops will close immediately.
On BBC iPlayer, take a trip back to Waterloo Road. Cheers.
Cheers!
Relive the history,
It was just a stupid mistake. It didn't mean anything.
the chemistry,
Well, I'm here for you, no matter what. I love you.
the drama.
Do you think I'm going to stand by and let you slow 13 years of school down the drain? You can't stop me.
Well, we'll see about that.
Before the new series starts, watch all episodes of Waterloo Road on BBC iPlayer.
BBC 5 Live.
The FIFA World Cup, Qatar 2022 with Kelly Cates.
Welcome to the World Cup Daily from 5 Live Sport, and what a day it's been of upsets and exits. In chronological order, Belgium failed to qualify for the round of 16. They drew 0-0 against the 2018 finalist Croatia in Group F. Morocco finished top of that group, and we'll talk about that, of course, a little bit later on. We'll start, though, with the action that took place in Group E, where it was all the drama. Japan and Spain secured their places in the round of 16. Germany are out, along with Costa Rica, at various stages throughout those games. Each of the sides was in with a chance of qualifying for the last 16, but it is only two who go through, and that does not include Germany. They did what they could do, Conor McNamara, but it wasn't enough.
A proper 6-goal thriller, this. Costa Rica 2, Germany 4. It finished. It was a night when the pendulum swung wildly from side to side. Right back at the beginning of the evening, Germany took the lead. Serge Gnabry's header. At that point, they were going through with Spain, who led Japan earlier on. But then the story of this game was just tossed into the tumble dryer and absolutely spun around. Tejeda made it 1-1. Almost immediately, Vargas made it 2-1. At this stage, Spain and Germany were going out, particularly when Japan took the lead against Spain. And then the frenzy and the excitement as Germany took Kai Havertz off the bench and brought him into the play. And his cool head was to have a huge part in turning the game around, but that wasn't going to be enough for Germany. 2 goals for Havertz, another substitute. Füllkrug made it 4-4-2. But by this stage, it was effectively out of Germany's hands. They would have needed another 5 goals to keep it within their own possession, and that wasn't going to happen. Spain didn't get the equaliser against Japan, and for the second tournament in a row, Germany exit a World Cup at the group stage.
Karen Bardsley is alongside Conor. Karen, sometimes we love football because it's controlled and elegant and tactical, and sometimes we love football because it is chaos. Tonight was chaos.
Football, yeah, it was chaos. You're absolutely right. You know, we had the screen here with the Spain and Japan game, and it was just pass, 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 pass. And then obviously this Germany-Costa Rica game was just completely the opposite. Just end-to-end stuff, open transition, lots of space starting to appear, particularly in the second half. Lots of just chaos everywhere. But yeah, you know, Kai Havertz made a huge impact coming on. To Conor's point, you know, he's so calm in front of goal. You know, he almost had a point to prove, you know, to everyone that Germany, you know, is claiming they don't have a goal scorer. Well, here he is. Musiala was brilliant. You know, he's a fun player to watch. You know, he's great. Got great 1v1 battles all over the place. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it was just a story of chances not taken, and yeah, football can be really, really cruel, but really, really awesome at the same time.
Yeah, and we can decide which side of the fence the following guests fall on. Former German international Arne Friedrich joins us now. Arne, the disappointment for Germany, who even right up until the late stages of these games were in with a chance of qualifying. That disappointment must run deep.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it was very disappointing. We started off very well. We created a lot of chances. We made it in the first half, to be honest. But after that, you said it already on the show. It was a quite wild ride. Even Spain out for a while, and then, you know, so many things happened. But in general, I would say that we lost in the first game against Japan. That's for sure. we tried our best tonight. We could have even scored way more goals. We created a lot of chances, but in the end, it was not supposed to happen.
Anna, that's been a story of Germany in this World Cup over the 3 matches, even in this one in which they scored 4 goals. It could have been more. Chances have been created and wasted.
Yes, of course. I mean, there are 2 scenarios, actually. First of all, defensively, we didn't do well, I would say, throughout the tournament, because to me, it's the most important to be very disciplined and structured in the back. And even today, we conceded goals against Costa Rica, with all due respect. But this should have not happened. On the other hand, we created a lot of chances. I think even Musiala, just him, he created 6 or 7 chances and could have scored definitely goals. In general, I think it's very sad. I mean, right now, for us, for the Germans, we have to prepare. We have to discuss everything. I mean, everything is at stake right now. The European Championship is coming around the corner, and right now everything is kind of broken, to be honest.
Christopher Klein, who's a German football journalist, joins us now. Christopher, what are the German football journalists going to be writing about this World Cup tournament for Germany?
I think they will use pretty much of the words Arne Friedrich just used. It's really a devastating night for German national team. When we are adding the Euros last year in England, where we had to go home like in the round of 16 against England, we can put that together. So it's 3 consecutive major tournaments where Germany has to leave very, very early. That's really a big disappointment. And like Arne said, everything has to be discussed now. There was, I think, 3 days earlier, the question at a press conference towards Hansi Flick, the national coach, if he may resign if Germany gets kicked out of the World Cup. And 3 days earlier, that was theoretically talking. And he said, well, from his point of view, of course, he wants to go on having this job as a national coach. But I'm pretty sure every single detail of this German squad has to be discussed now. And I have to be honest, I'm sitting here still with my mouth opened. I wouldn't have thought that this could possibly happen.
Yeah, now isn't necessarily the time to have cool heads about the situation and what the future holds for German football, because it's just a visceral reaction to what German football fans have just seen. Arne, you talked about the issues up front, you talked about the defensive issues within Germany. How much responsibility do you think that Hansi Flick has to take for that?
First of all, the head coach, he takes all responsibility. I'm a big fan of Hansi Flick, so don't get me wrong, but in the end, the coach is responsible for the team, and therefore he's gonna be his biggest criticism himself. So therefore, I would say that tonight is gonna be a nightmare to each and every one. They will sit together, they will discuss everything, but tonight, obviously, they will not make any decision about the future. But it's a very tough situation and very disappointing. Even I have no words for that right now, because to me it's so sad. I mean, and also one thing to say is within the last week here in Germany, we created some kind of fan bases. So people started to watch the German national team. The first game against Japan was quite weak, but after that we just created some kind of nice atmosphere here. Now everything is falling into pieces. So therefore, it's going to be a tough night for everyone, and then we have to make good choices and decisions.
Christopher, as Arne says, he's a fan of Hansi Flick, but it hasn't worked out for Germany in this tournament. Do you think that German football fans will be as accepting and as understanding as Arne is?
That's hard to answer right now. I don't know, I have to watch, to look on the clock. I don't know, a couple of minutes, let's say 15, 20 minutes after the final whistle. I think they will. To be honest, it was half a year now. Hansi Flick was the head coach, of course. He knows the players. He was assistant coach for many, many years. But I say in general, it was his first major tournament as a head coach of the national team. So I would guess, but it's only guessing, that he'll get a second chance. But that's only my point of view right now, just 15 or 20 minutes after this disaster. We can call it like that.
Anna, I feel as though I want to leave you and Christopher on a happier note and talk maybe about the shining light for Germany in this competition. You've already mentioned him, Jamal Musiala, who's been fantastic for Germany.
Yeah, I would say that Musiala is one of the bright stars, not just like this tournament, but also the whole season and the season before with Bayern Munich. He's a very creative, very skillful player. He even put on muscle. He's way better in protecting the ball as well. And you saw it today. He took so much responsibility. Almost every attack was created by him or through him. And he's for sure a wonderful player, and he's going to hold the future. But nevertheless, I mean, even today, if you have a player who just played well or at least created chances, I mean, it doesn't say anything about anything, because right now football is a team sport. Tonight we failed, we have to say that, and that's very sad, and even Musiala is going to be very disappointed and sad.
Anna Friedrich and Christopher Klein, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so
for being
much.
on the show.
Thank
Bye.
you, good to hear from you both. Conor McNamara and Karen Bardsley watched that win for Germany against Costa Rica, but it also means the exit for Germany from this competition. Karen, from Germany's performances across their 3 games, did they deserve to go through?
No. I think is the clear answer. Although there were moments of really, really beautiful football, and the most exciting game, I think, up until this point maybe of the tournament was obviously Germany and Spain. It was a tactical masterclass. It was just so fun to watch. But ultimately, they just haven't been consistent enough through the group stages.
The Japan defeat is the key one, because you look at Germany's World Cup here, they have beaten Costa Rica. We would have expected them to do that. They drew against Spain, and again, you'd have said, okay, that's the other big team in the group. You get a draw against them, that's not the end of the world. Where they've come undone is the defeat against Japan. But I think that the post-mortem will be underway for Germany now, and I bet you, Kelly, they'll be talking about if that ball had been deemed to have gone over the line before it comes back into the middle for Japan, that one goal would have made such a huge difference, and they might still be in the World Cup now, Germany, had it not been for that controversial decision. So there'll be a lot of talk about curvature of the ball, and was all of the ball over the line, and can we see a view from above, and all these kind of things in a game. That there are a million different parts of a football game, but so often the whole story comes down to one tiny moment, one tiny margin, and that was a big thing for them. But the point you would make about Germany is they should never have put themselves in this position in the first place. If they had got the job done against Japan, do you remember they led? They were 1-0 up early on against Japan. If they had seen that out, they wouldn't have had to endure the drama and ultimately the humiliation tonight. It could have been worse. At one stage they were going out bottom of the group, and to lose to Costa Rica, but I think whatever pride you could argue that they've salvaged will be scant consolation for the Germans right now.
Yeah, Karen, that's what Anna and what Christopher were saying, is that result against Japan set the tone. From then on, Germany were having to scramble against Spain, and then even though they got the win against Costa Rica, it wasn't enough. It felt like that was the defining match of their World Cup.
Yeah, absolutely, and all the credit to Japan. They've been absolutely outstanding. I mean, sure, it was a bit strange that they go and lose to Costa Rica in the manner that they did, but ultimately, they put the ball in the back of the net when it mattered. They put together, although not 90 minutes of a cohesive performance, but when it counted, they made the effective changes. They got, they took advantage of their opportunities in most of the chances that they had. But there's a lot to be said about being disciplined and structured and understanding your game plan and executing it as best you can. And I think that methodology and that approach throughout the group stages has seen them into the knockout rounds.
For Costa Rica, they've had some roller coaster for World Cup. I mean, I have to say that I've sort of a special place in my heart for them now, because being thumped by Spain 7-0 in that first game, their World Cup could have crumbled. I think they did so well to come back to beat Japan in the second match, to be leading against Germany. And let's not forget to put this in context. Costa Rica is a country of 5 million people. You add up the other 3 teams in the group, Japan, Spain, Germany, that's 250 million population across those 3 countries. The fact that they've been able to hold their head and be involved in the drama, and sure, they end up bottom of the group, but they ruffled a few feathers and they contributed to Germany's downfall along the way.
I mean, let's have it right as well. A fair play to the Costa Ricans, to go down 7-0 without having any shots on goal, having one shot on target and then beating the Japanese. I mean, and they're coming so close to qualifying and knocking Spain out. It's just What a story.
Yeah. There was that moment when the Vargas second goal went in, and it was, it's such a strange goal because the goalkeeper's coming out and it's Manuel Neuer. No goalkeeper's played in more World Cup games ever. Dino's off, forget about it, right? This guy's played more World Cup matches than any goalkeeper, and he was just a statue as the ball fell on, and it was almost like Vargas landed on the ball, and that was enough to squirt it over the line. It was an incredible goal, and for that brief moment, I think it was only 1 minute later that it all changed and the goal came in the other game. But for that brief 1 minute, Costa Rica were going through in the World Cup, and that's the sort of stuff, as a kid I used to love watching stories of that. I mean, so many kids around the world who couldn't name a single Costa Rican player, but for that moment they'd have been jumping up and down on their couch and their hairs would be standing up on the back of their neck, and that's what we love about football.
I hope Joel Campbell has a Panini sticker now. That's all I can say.
That was the story for the last World Cup. He couldn't find a Panini sticker with his face on it. I think there'll be a few of them stuck on his wall when he gets home from this.
Absolutely. Karen, just one last word on Hansi Flick, because you talk about the importance for Japan of being well organised, of knowing their game plan, of executing their game plan. Does the head coach of Germany have to take responsibility for their game plan, particularly in that opening game against Japan, or do you think that it just wasn't executed properly by the players, or it was luck that was against them? What do you think?
I think it's a combination of several things. I mean, obviously, as a manager, you do have to take ultimate responsibility. The strategy and the team selection obviously falls on your shoulders. And yes, of course, on the pitch, you can't really do a whole lot, maybe except making some tweaks here and there. Ultimately, the types of players that were on the pitch should have the technical and tactical nous to kind of do that in play. And there's no shortage of creation of chances or opportunities. It was kind of the execution in the end that just didn't fall right. But yes, ultimately, I think, how well does Hansi Flick know his players? Is his approach far too similar to previous managers? You look at Kai Havertz coming on, is he best as a false nine? Which, does it suit the German team? Do you have to kind of just build your methodology and your approach around the players that you have, or are you just trying to fit square pegs into round holes, etc.? So I do think a lot of questions are going to be asked, and some interesting comments around whether he's going to step down or not. So yeah, it'll just be interesting to see what kind of emerges off the back of this, but ultimately, yeah, the Germans are going to be really, really disappointed.
Karen Bardsley, Conor McNamara, thank you very much for joining us this evening. What a game between Costa Rica and Germany. Germany 4-2 winners, but it wasn't enough for them at the Al Bayt Stadium, and they are out of the World Cup. Spain are through, but only just. They go through on 4 points ahead of Germany on goal difference only. Guillaume Balaguer joins us now. Guillaume, you spotted it at half-time. You spotted those weaknesses in Spain that allowed Japan to turn things around and get the victory in this game.
Yeah, because no system is perfect, but if somebody's intense against us, we have difficulties and we lose the ball in the wrong places. If they defend very close together, as Japan did when they went 2-1 up, it's very hard. We don't find that pass in between the lines and then somebody to just run in behind these highly spaces. We always give choices to opportunities to the rivals with the amount of space that we leave in behind, and Japan played to exploit all those weaknesses. But the style, as I say, no system is perfect, has to do with a way of understanding life and football. We will not change under Luis Enrique. It's just that it was a very bad version of the style. Just couldn't find that last pass, didn't move the ball fast enough, didn't offer any alternative really. So
do you think Japan kind of lured them in to sleep a little bit because it was so unopposed in the first half? Do you think it lured Spain in a little bit just to being a little bit too slow and a bit too methodical with their play?
You must have played a lot of games in which you play 4 games in 1 or 2 or 3 different ones. The first half, what Japan did was to try for nothing to happen, and we were of the belief that was us controlling the game. Perhaps we were being controlled, even though we were 1-0 down. And quite clearly, as they did with Germany, the minute difference of the goals was big against Germany, but they knew that they will just at some point go and attack those spaces and be aggressive in the pressure. And we just couldn't handle that. That, for me, is the most worrying thing, that when things started going wrong, we didn't have the ability to stop what was happening, or to change the mentality and then just say, okay, now we have to win. It didn't seem, again, Spain aggressive enough to get the ball, didn't have enough chances. There's a lot of bad news. And Matt is actually playing mental games with me. He says, oh, Morocco is not bad. No, Morocco's terrible. They defend deep.
I was just disappointed that Guillaume wasn't sat next to us when that table went up on the big screen. We saw Japan, Costa Rica, then Spain, then Germany. He wasn't sat here, Kelly.
But
I was gutted.
I know, and I'll remember forever that 12 minutes is not always 12 minutes. That was 12 minutes, the time that we were out.
Yeah.
It felt much longer. Time is a lie. It's a big lie.
Yeah, that and the added time at the end, I think, might have felt very long for Germany as they were waiting to see if Spain could get the goal, because if they had, then Germany would have qualified for the knockout stages. They were dependent on that. But Ian Dennis, it swung around so many times. Who was going through to the last 16? Who was going to be knocked out of the competition? Spain went into this evening's match against Japan in pole position. They were clear at the top, but there was that 12-minute gap when Costa Rica were leading against Germany and Spain were heading out of the tournament.
Well, I'm glad that I was making a note of it as the way that it chopped and changed. And I said earlier it was like a footballing equivalent of snakes and ladders, because you had Spain and Japan, you had Spain and Germany, you had then Japan and Spain, Costa Rica and Japan, before we finally settled on Japan and Spain. And I've also I didn't know it was the 12 minutes. There was enough going on with flipping and flopping back between Connor in between the two games. Just an incredible night, remarkable game of football. And also, you've got to credit Japan, Moriyasu, with the changes, because he made the changes for Germany in the opening game. They came from behind to beat Germany by 2-1, and he made the changes again at the start of the second half with Matoma and Doan, and once again they were at the heart of it. Doan getting the equaliser just as he did against Germany, and then Matoma, the Brighton player, every time he's come onto a field, that's his third substitute appearance in this tournament so far, he's made a difference for Japan. It was his cutback that lengthy VAR delay, I mean, that would have felt 12 minutes alone, I would imagine, if you're Japanese, before they decided that the whole of the ball hadn't gone out of play, and therefore Tanaka's goal.
That's a strange decision, wasn't it? It looked very much by eye as though that had crossed the line, as though it had gone out of play.
We thought it had, didn't we?
Yeah, you're right that if you look at the replay and you look by eye, but then I saw an aerial shot of a different angle, and I just
I've
saw
not seen that one.
the two whites of the ball and the line had merged, and it was in.
It was in.
But if you saw it on the angle where the camera's on the side of the pitch, it looked over the line. So
it's one of those things that's going to be discussed, and screenshots and all kinds of things are going to be shared about that one.
In Germany.
In Germany, certainly in Germany. Although in the end, they're just waiting and hoping that wouldn't have happened, or waiting and hoping for Spain to get back into the game. Just on the way that game went, 17.7% of the ball. Japan have won a World Cup game with the lowest possession figure in recorded World Cup history. Since World Cup records began in 1966, there are only 2 instances of a team losing a game despite attempting 700-plus passes. One of them was Germany against Japan last week, and the other one was Spain against Japan tonight. That tells us a lot, even if we didn't spot it visually, about Japan's approach.
I mean, it's just too much of a coincidence that those games have happened right now, because we're looking at thinking, well, they just got dominated. I think it must be a game plan. They must set out, Guillaume, to not have the ball and to almost make out they're not any good. Well, we're not a threat. We're not a problem to any team. Then all of a sudden they just have this switch. The subs come on and bang, they just sucker punch teams with 2 goals. And then they defend really well, and they're more aggressive when they have the lead in how they defend than when at the start of the game.
Obviously, game management has been brilliant from them. They know the limitations, and that's the beginning of a good team.
Yeah.
They know that if they have to dominate, as they had to do with Costa Rica, they won't be generally successful, even though they were unlucky because it was only one shot against them and then it went in. That's it, defeat for them. But of course, I am convinced that they tried to make not much happening for a lot of the game, knowing that they are very aware of the weaknesses of the rival. In the case of Germany, in fact, same as Spain. Yeah. They're going to leave you so much space in behind that at some point, if you bring fresh legs, people that are fast, you can exploit that. Then you have to score, and then you have to get a goalkeeper that bends his hands when a shot comes in from the edge of the box. A lot of other things have to happen, but that is, I'm sure, the game plan. Yeah.
He should save it, though. Simon. You think he should save it? I agree. He got solid hands to the ball, a lot of power on the shot, but from a goalkeeper's perspective, most goalkeepers would be so disappointed they didn't save that.
I think so.
Spain through then. They play Morocco on Tuesday at 3 p.m. Commentary of that one, of course, on 5 Live Sport. But they're not the story from this game. They were expected to qualify from this group. Japan were not. And Jay Bothroyd joins us now. What a fantastic performance. Japan just don't go through, Jay. They're through as the group winners. Who saw that coming?
Oh my God, what an amazing game of football. I can't believe it. I'm so happy for their country. It's amazing. It really was.
It's the way that they've done it as well. As the guys were saying, that they almost kind of lull teams into a false sense of security. They do very little, make teams believe that they're not capable of doing much more, and then bang, they hit them and then defend for their life.
It's not, to be honest, I was saying that the Japanese players, the Japanese team are capable of these performances. And I see this the whole time I was in Japan. It was like this with the national team for some reason. It was just like some games they'll be like really up for it against some bigger nations, and then against the smaller nations when it's like you should win that, they put in a subdued performance. And we've seen it in this World Cup. Like no one expected Japan to beat Germany and Spain. Like someone that bet money on that was going to be a very rich man tonight. But I mean, it was a fantastic performance. But I want to see them go into the next game, Croatia, right, against Croatia, and play like they did against Germany and Spain in the second half. I want them to go out there with belief, like, we've got nothing to lose. Let's go out. It could be our last World Cup. That kind of mentality, and go and try and win the game rather than, kind of have to make loads of substitutions and make changes. Again, like, I'm so happy, but I just know what the Japanese players are capable of. I played against like maybe 12, 15 of them players.
Jay, do you think it's like their game plan though, or do you think they actually want to go and control the ball and have possession and go and? Do you not think they prefer in this part of almost like the mystery of how they're going about this World Cup, that's their key, that's the sucker punch that they have?
No, mate, I don't actually, because a lot of the teams when in Japan, they play possession-based football. They press high, they work really hard, and seeing the way they're winning these games, I don't believe they're going to go into that and say this is our game plan, and then they've executed like that. It's panned out that way, but I think it's one thing I think with the Japanese players, and I don't think any other squad would have, they don't have egos. So if one player's left on the bench, no one's going to kick up a fuss. There's going to be no arguments in the dressing room. They're all are going to be treated the same, and they're all going to react in exactly the same way. They're very disciplined as a people. But when you see their performances, they definitely didn't plan. That wasn't their game plan. Their game plan would have been to keep the ball, but then obviously it didn't happen. The managers made some really good changes, and then you see a performance like that in the second half, and what a performance it was.
Yeah, and Jay, when you look at the way that Japan have got round to doing this, as you said, you want them to start more strongly. They're the third team in World Cup history to win 2 different games at a single edition in which they were losing at half-time. That's to Brazil in 1938 and Germany in 1970. So this is not something that happens often. And look, with your experience of having played in Japan, you'll know how much this means to people. We were watching Japan fans in the crowd.
You could see them crying.
That's what I was going to say. It wasn't just, tears of joy. It was great racking sobs. They looked like they were in real pain and anguish. This is more than just being, a bit happy or excited. This is genuinely meaningful, isn't it?
Yeah, this would mean so much to people. I mean, I've had people texting me all throughout this game from Japan, and it means so much to the country. Japanese people are so patriotic, and this will mean so much. It was just a great performance. I'll tell you one thing that I don't want to see anymore. I don't want to see Mitoma on the bench anymore. That guy is a serious player. He's got so much energy. He plays with so much quality. And, people are going to talk, was the ball in or out? We haven't seen the picture yet, but I mean, for me, it's a goal. They've gone through, but his defensive work rate as well was fantastic. He's got to be one of the first names on the team sheet. He made such a difference when he came on at half-time. But again, overall, it was a great team performance. I'm so happy for the country. I can't wait till tomorrow. When I wake up, I'm going to speak to some of my friends over there.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be fantastic. Sorry, Deno.
They probably will make that change as well, Jay, because Itakura has picked up a suspension tonight. So the central defender is going to be suspended for the last 16 game. And I would imagine that Nagatomo... Tomiyasu could come in, although he's had calf injuries, but completely agree about Matoma. And we've actually Guillem has just shown us the picture, the aerial shot. I mean, we're talking millimetres.
What's less than millimetres?
It was clearly in.
Micrometers.
But you know what's funny? I was saying just now that, sometimes you watch in the Premier League, you see players take a corner and they put the ball like in the corner, but it's almost like it's out of the area where you put the ball in. It almost looks like it's out. So when you see that today and it's like millimeters, you can see why they probably gave that goal.
It makes a big difference when you look at that picture aerially to when it's on the side. On the side, it looks like the ball's gone out, but when you see it from the top and you see the whole circumference of the ball, it's a fraction, isn't it? I mean, we're not talking a lot. It's a hair.
But it's enough. And Japan, in Japan, they're not going to be debating this with anywhere near the ferocity that it's going to be talked about in Germany. So what do you think, Jay? If Japan can manage to bring in...
Japan are going all the way.
Okay. Why not?
No, I think... Do you know what the thing is? I think the next game, again, I think whoever I was saying during the game, whoever they was going to play, whether it be Morocco or Croatia, they're very winnable games for Japan. And I think they need to go into those games, play their best possible team, and go out and just try and win it and act like the favourites. Because I know these players. I've played against them, like I said. Player for player, a lot of the Japanese players would be better than them Moroccan players. And, the Croatian players, don't get me wrong, there's some wonderful players there, technical ability. But they're an Asian team as well. And when you see the energy of this Japan team tonight and the discipline, you know how effective they can actually be in these games. So I was going to that game, they have to be the favourites to go through, in my opinion.
And then Japan would be in the quarterfinals of the World Cup, and from then on, who knows what could happen. Jay, good to talk to you and good to hear your positivity.
Great to talk to you guys.
See you, Jay.
By the way, we've got you down seriously for that one. Japan can win the World Cup. That's right, isn't it? If they do, guys. Jay Bothroyd said it here first. Thank you very much for that, Jay. So Japan play Croatia on Monday at 3 o'clock. Spain play Morocco on Tuesday at 3 o'clock from that group. But let's move on to the action that took place earlier on today. Morocco and Croatia through to the knockout stages. Morocco as leaders after they beat Canada 2-1. There was a goalless draw between Croatia and Belgium. So Belgium, the team ranked second in the world, are out of the World Cup, and it's been a tournament to forget for the Red Devils and their manager Roberto Martinez, who has left his position with the national side.
That was my last game with the national team, and it's emotional, as you can imagine. I can't carry on. Sorry. I'm a person that I like to build things. I've been 6 years in the national team. I arrived with a clear job of qualifying for the World Cup, and then you get so engaged with the project, you get so engaged with the people behind the players, and then we finished with a bronze medal, as you can imagine, and it felt that we had to give it another go, and it's been a real joy. We've been able to build an incredible legacy. I know that a lot of people only see legacy by winning a major tournament. I see it in a different way. I'm so proud of these players, and the real fans in Belgium, they appreciated what this generation are doing.
That was Roberto Martinez, who is no longer the head coach of Belgium. Guillem Balaguer is with us, and you're a friend of Roberto Martinez. It was clearly a really emotional moment for him, Guillem. He sounded choked in that press conference, and he talked about the connections that he'd made over that time. For him, it wasn't just about the first team. It wasn't just about the golden generation and the superstars. He talked about how deeply involved he was in the whole infrastructure of Belgian football.
And he was, and he's continued a process that, yes, the federation had started earlier, but he made it more intense even. We spoke before the game about the convincing some of the superstars of this golden generation to get the coaching badges and to get involved already in coaching some of the under 16s and under 18 side, just to get a taste of it and to be the ones that actually made Belgium competitive again. But to clarify the situation of his contract was going to finish at the end of the World Cup, and the federation wanted him to renew his contract, and he decided that it's the end, that wanted to move on, that he now fancies club football, and he will look for that somewhere. It's interesting that he has a better, as we say, better press or better image in England than he has in Spain. As in Spain, he's not very well known. He's seen as he's called Bobby. We call him Bobby. We don't call him Roberto, because he has developed all his career in England, in the UK, and I expect there'll be a club after him. But the legacy is as well as what we're talking about, and the possibility of determining a style and getting players through the ranks and preparing Belgium for the next thing. It's in 79 matches, only 10 defeats. That's not Belgium normally. They've been for 4 years at the top of the FIFA rankings. It is a good place to leave it, and I completely agree with something he says. We wanted to give it another go. He knows that the players weren't for this World Cup really, but because they were the golden generation, because of they managed to get a bronze medal in 2018, they deserved another chance. That happened to Spain in 2014. They won so much. Go to Brazil, enjoy yourselves. We crashed and then start over, and I think that's the plan with Belgium.
Does he feel that sense of underachievement?
But it's not. It's not. We heard Christophe Terre before talking about this, and he feels exactly the same. What else do you want them to do? Belgium, they have competed in tournaments. They have perhaps didn't get a title, but how many other sides in the same period of the golden generation didn't get titles? There is no sense of underachieving, because actually to win a tournament, you've seen it tonight, it just depends on the ball going 1 centimetre. What was it, Kelly? Micrometer.
Yeah, a micrometer.
Just one way or the other, and that takes you to a place of the draw, takes you out of the competition. I don't think he could have done a much more, Phil.
And where do you think he'll go next?
Oh, no, that's interesting. Jordi Cruyff is the director of football of Barcelona, and his name was mentioned to Barcelona in the past, but I do believe that England is the place to go. He wants to be in the Premier League. There will be the opportunities. I don't know at what level. I mean, we've seen in the last few months the likes of Wolves and Nottingham Forest looking for managers. He'll find an opportunity to come back, I'm sure. And there he hasn't finished business. There he left with the impression that he could have done things better. For instance, at the end at Everton wasn't so great. And he wants to prove everybody wrong.
Guillaume, just on that question of underachievement, there are two angles to come at it. One of them is whether you think he underachieved and whether he thinks he underachieved, and you've answered that and talked about what he has achieved as Belgium coach. But there's another one of perception, and do you think he will be seen to have got the best out of that golden generation?
I go by what Christophe said to us earlier. We're debating this. Are they underachievers? This has not been debated back home. In Belgium, it's a small country with a generation appearing out of the blue, or perhaps now held by the federation in recent times, every 20, 30 years. That's it. And at that point, you hope that something happens. They were semi-finalists, weren't they, in Spain, 82. And then they disappeared for a while, and then again started making good results. And finally, in 2018, again, semi-finalists. It's a small country. It's a small country that now have trying to put the foundations through the federation, but also through Roberto, for another success to come a little bit earlier. So the kind of work that they put into the players when they get taken into the facilities of the federation have to do with understanding the game, competing, layers of different ways of playing. All that is put into, and then we'll see what happens in tournaments. But I think they're giving themselves a better chance to make an impact in the European scene with all the work that he's put in.
Deno, word on Morocco as well, because we should talk about them. I know you won't have seen the game against Canada earlier today. They top Group F. It's the first African team to win their group this century. Senegal are also through. Ghana are well placed, but we'll find out more about them when they take on Uruguay on Friday. But in terms of what Morocco have done, what they've achieved in a group that contained Croatia, Belgium and Canada, they end the tournament with they end the group stages with 7 points.
Yeah, and the other day, when I was doing Senegal, we were reading out a statistic that I think it was something like 43 previous matches in a final group stage game, of the 29 when there was something riding on it, when the African sides had a chance of progressing, only 9 of those 29 had seen the African sides going through. And then under pressure, you've had Senegal, so it was like a 1 in 3. You've had Senegal go through, you've had Morocco go through, and not only go through, but to then go through as group winners in a difficult group. I mean, Canada in qualifying finished ahead of the United States and Mexico, and they were obviously their first World Cup since '86. But fair play to Morocco, and they've obviously now got Spain in the last 16 on Tuesday.
And then quarterfinals, maybe Portugal or Ghana, and then semi-finalists, England or France.
Interesting that you see them getting past Spain.
I'd say Morocco, Spain going to the quarterfinals and meeting all these people.
Thank you very much to Guillaume Balaguer, to Matthew Upson and to Ian Dennis for their company this evening. We're going to focus on England now. The countdown starting to their last 16 game against Senegal. Emma Saunders has been inside the England camp throughout the tournament, and today she's found some friends to go with her.
Yes, Kelly. Well, with England through to the knockout stages, the stakes are up. Things are now getting a bit serious. So I thought I'd bring in 2 of our more serious on-air voices with me as well. That's in Chris Sutton and 5 Live breakfast presenter Rick Edwards.
Okay, so that's
Rick,
not really a nice way to welcome us, because I know you're being sarcastic there. You're saying we're a pair of mugs?
Not at all, not at all.
All right.
2 of the more serious voices I just said there. The stakes are up. Yeah. Rick, not your first time in camp, is it? But Chris...
Not actually, no.
Very much, your first entrance into Al Wakra. What do we think?
It was very hot. The weather's very hot. Hasn't rained at all. Hasn't been chilly at all on any day.
Talk about the clouds. Bit of cloud cover today, isn't there? Wispy cloud cover.
Cloud cover. It feels a little bit muggy. Listen, I'm no weather expert.
Are you not?
No. Beautiful pitch. I mean, you can't misplace a pass on this pitch. But yeah, and just watching the England players going through their warm-up routine, just seeing them stretch a little bit. I fancy us for the World Cup.
Steady on. We've only just made it through to the knockout stages, Chris.
No, it is Chris's first time here at the England camp.
It's rather getting excited.
It's a mark of the excitement level. We actually started about 5 minutes late because Chris had to go off to the toilet, didn't you?
Yeah, I got a little bit of a tummy problem. Yeah, well, more Ali Bruce Ball's pasta.
Oh yeah, I've heard about that.
Is quite interesting that the coaches have to show them how to run around 2 poles and then move on. What does it tell us about the modern day footballer, though?
There's some variation in this now, though. They're having to run backwards as well. Could that be a tactic deployed against
Declan
Senegal?
Rice just hit the pole.
Well, there's a lot of him, actually. He's a big fella, isn't he? I don't think any of them will be enjoying this phase of training.
You mentioned Declan Rice a minute ago. He's doing the main press conference today.
He hit a pole.
That's
a question.
Have the delight of Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Yes,
Rick,
we
you
do.
audibly gasped when he walked out of training, so I'm looking forward to hearing your reaction when we get him inside the futsal hall a bit later.
I'm going to embarrass myself.
This is the World Cup Daily from BBC Radio 5 Live.
Well, Trent, thanks for joining us, or Agent Trent, should we say. Your little stroll has got quite a lot of traction, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's just going out with the mates, aren't I? Everyone's saying Agent Trent, but no, he's yeah, we went out, a few of us yesterday. We gave him the day off, so I had a decent day out.
But Liverpool fans in particular were looking into everything in that picture. The red trees in
Really?
the background. Sure, none of that was deliberate?
No, of course not. No, we just decided to get a pick. World Cups are once in a lifetime, really, or at least a couple of times in a lifetime. Not many people can say they've been to them, so it's good to get some pictures on board and stuff like that. So Yeah, that's what we tried to do.
Take us inside the camp a little bit more in your free time. You've been watching a lot of the other games, and with that, are you starting to really form quite a strong opinion on who the teams are going to beat in this competition now?
I think as you go, I think especially when you're going into the knockout stages, I think the fact that there's only 16 teams, then I think you narrow it down to 3 or 4 teams that you think have a real chance of winning the tournament.
Go on then. Who are they?
I think obviously us, I'd say France, Brazil, Spain, possibly Argentina, Portugal. Yeah, them are probably the teams that you would think even before the tournament even started, you would say have a good chance.
Have any of you got a World Cup wall chart up?
There's one, but we don't. It's not like we do it. I think the staff do it. But no.
I imagine it to be like Selling Sunset, you know, when they ring the bell after one of you gets the honour of going over with a thick black Sharpie and writing England when they go through.
Like that in Russia. Like we had a massive projector and under it there was a massive wall chart, and then after each game, whoever was closest to it would go and write in the score. But no, we haven't quite got that this time around.
Well, you're only a few days away now from that round of 16 game. When do you find out who is in that starting 11?
Probably the day before the game.
So I suppose for you personally, in the situation that you're in, you've got 30 minutes against Wales. How much do you feel you can do in the next few days? Or how much do you feel it's perhaps almost predetermined at this stage? What's your take on it?
I think the mindset that I've got is, and I think the lads have got, is that you can train your way into the team. I think there is decisions that are already predetermined, and I think that decisions have already been made. Obviously things can happen with fitness and stuff like that, so you've got to be ready no matter what, and I think that's the mentality of all the lads, is that whether you think you're starting, whether you don't think you're starting, that you need to push yourself every day to get into that role. And when it doesn't happen, at least like the other day against Wales, I'm ready to come on and try and perform for the team.
Are you asked to do a slightly different job for England? I've read you before saying that you play the game rather than playing the position, and that playing a position puts limitations on you. Do you feel that you are asked to play a position for England?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I would say yeah. I think that's just different styles of play. I think you see that up and down the country every single week, and you're playing against different teams. I think if I played for a different team, I would be asked to play a different role as well. So I think it's the exact same as now. I'm not playing for the same team that I play in week in, week out. So you know, it's hard to expect to have the exact same role. You know, you have to adapt, you need to adjust, and that's part of being a footballer. And if you can't do that, then you're not really getting to get into teams, I suppose.
How deserving do you feel you are of a starting place in that game against Senegal?
I would say I feel like I do deserve to start. Maybe I'm not saying that off how I performed the other day or other people's things. It's just the mentality that I think every footballer has, is that's why there's always disappointment when the team gets named, because you do think you've done enough to play the game. And if you don't feel like that, then what's the point in really being here? So I think it's always the big thing when you've got squads of this size. You've got 11 players that think you've made the right decision, and you've got 15, 16 that think you've made the wrong decision. So, you know, you can't keep everyone happy. It's not in my hands. All I can do is train and play as well as I can to try and earn that trust and get on the pitch.
Before you go, Trent, being the 1st of December, you may well see on your desk you've got a little sort of Santa stocking there, and inside we've got a gift for you.
Oh, wow,
a secret Santa, if you will.
Thank you.
So for the benefit of our listeners, will you just let them know what have you got? It's a bit snug.
It is, I think it's like a magnetic chess set.
It is?
Yeah, a magnetic chess set. I'm going to play Eric Dyer at some point, because he gives it the big, and then he'll be able to beat me. So
yeah, we did wonder who you might be able to go toe-to-toe with, but apparently this werewolf game is proving pretty popular.
Yeah, werewolves. I never knew about it until I came. I'd heard about it, because I've seen like on Madder's Insta and stuff, but we'll try and, we might have to get a camera involved so we can show the world how to play.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
It's quite involved, isn't it? Quite complex, from what I understand.
Yeah, you need a lot of players and stuff. And then there's people who, there's basically like 3 infiltrators within a group of like 12, 13 years, and you have to try and figure out who it is and who's going around killing people in the night. And It's hard to say, but it's basically a game of lying and deception between the lads.
Perfect team building.
Yeah, I was going to say, it sounds like it could go one or two ways, but...
Yeah, there's nothing more unifying than accusing someone of lying to you.
Right, well, on that note, thanks so much for your time.
My
and
pleasure.
yeah, keep it up. Best of luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Claire.
Thank you.
I love you, by the way. I just got to.
Thank you.
And that's the reason I'm here as well, because if we'd left Rick, I don't know if we would have got anywhere. Yeah.
This is the World Cup Daily from BBC Radio 5 Live.
So Trent Alexander-Arnold has made his way out of our little mini gymnasium here inside the futsal hall in Al Wakra.
I've got to tell you, there's nothing more disheartening than going from sitting interviewing Trent Alexander-Arnold sitting across from you, and then literally a minute later sitting in exactly the same spot as Chris Sutton.
Chris, anything else that you enjoyed in there? Made your ears prick up a little bit?
I thought the question about the different roles which he has to play was, really interesting. Clearly, at Liverpool, he has the confidence to play a role, and he's comfortable in the role which he plays. Maybe at England, that's been the criticism. I mean, we spoke before about if England play a back three and Trent plays as a wing back. It's not the role which he plays at Liverpool, albeit it is as an attacking fullback. But, he's in a position where I think there was doubt about him, whether he would make the squad or not. He's here, he's super enthusiastic, and the most important thing is that he's ready, as he was when he went on against Wales.
But I think it's also interesting that he was at pains to say, but that is part of being a footballer. Like when you go and play for a different team, or you go and play in a different system, you will have to adjust. You can't expect to just go and play exactly the same game that you're used to playing. Is that fair?
I absolutely accept that, and Gareth will have a different way of playing, of course, than Jurgen Klopp. But the thing which I liked, and he sort of elaborated on it at the end with the werewolf stuff, is that everybody, seems to get on well and trust each other, and the relationships are good, and they are a team. And of course, that's important at a major tournament, that everybody is pulling in the right direction. He's always, seen him interviewed plenty of times, always seemed a nice lad. He'll have that. There's no doubt he'll have that edge to him. I like the question at the end, about, does he think he should be picked? And yeah, damn right I should.
Well, we'll ask you the same question as well, Chris.
No, I'm too old, Emma, of course. I've had my
you
one
worthy of a
cap.
starting place? No, Trent, do you think he's deserving of a starting place?
No, I don't. And look, I rate him highly. I do, but I think he's had his defensive deficiencies over a number of years now, and I think Gareth thinks the same thing. So, at this moment in time, Kieran Trippier's had a really strong start to the season, and Kyle Walker, I think, is better defensively, and maybe I thought there was an interesting selection, Kyle Walker, against Wales, because if things go well, and I'm not taking it for granted, but if England beat Senegal and France beat Poland, which France will because Poland are pretty hopeless, then Mbappe, of course, and who's best suited to handle Mbappe? And I think we would all probably agree with Kyle Walker's pace, he would be the one. But it's good. I mean, what's healthy for a number of years now? England have had so much competition in that area. The other side is a bit of a different situation where they don't have enough competition as far as I can see. I mean, Trippier, this tournament could possibly play there as he did in the Euros, but it's pretty much Luke Shaw or bust on the other side. But I mean, Trent must feel slightly unfortunate that there are so many good right backs in England at this moment in time.
It is very clear from sort of seeing all of the players interviewed, and when you chat to them, Emma, that there is a kind of like a club atmosphere that Gareth Southgate has tried to create. Because you compare it to sort of 12 years ago, where it was so clearly factions of players who were kind of a bit off with one another, and you just don't get any of that from these guys. They seem like they genuinely like each other and genuinely get on and enjoying being part of this squad.
We touched on whether Trent should be or shouldn't be in that 11 against Senegal.
I feel bad at saying that because he's such a nice bloke.
Yeah.
It's awful, he's giving you his time, and
I know, he walks out the door and there you are saying, nope, shouldn't be anywhere near the
Also,
11.
he's literally played against Mbappe and beaten him. So he's got the experience.
Says a Liverpool fan. So you think he should be in then? So you're telling
I think
Gareth...
it should be all Liverpool players, including the ones who aren't English. Yeah.
To wrap up, though...
I think it should be
hang on
Salah.
a minute. No, hang on a minute. Hang on. Is that not the English cricket team?
Very good.
To wrap up, though, that 11, there was rather a lot of debate around Phil Foden and Harry Kane, a few other players, where they should be in, out, back three, back four. How straightforward do you think the planning is going ahead of this game, Chris, and personnel formations?
I worry about England defensively in the centre-half position. I don't think that Harry Maguire should have got in the squad. Having said that, he's performed really, really well. I don't think he's been tested yet. I think in the forward areas, I think that there's options, and we've seen many, many teams in this World Cup utilise their squad. And I thought it deeply unfair on Gareth to be panned after the USA game for not bringing Foden on. I thought there were greater issues than that. Gareth was public enemy number one. You're thinking, come on, I mean, give the guy a break. I thought he should have come on, but he didn't. But it wasn't the end of the world. But I think at this moment in time, there's a lot of forward players who are in form. So if things aren't working, then Gareth can change up. I think that's a really, really positive thing.
Well, the sun has set here in Al Wakra. It won't be long until we are thrown out of the facility here. So with that, Chris, I thank you for your time.
No, thank you.
It's been an effort for you at times today.
But a good effort.
It's been good
Do you want to
to
stay a
have
bit
you here.
longer, Chris?
Let
me go and have a word and see if we can stay another half hour.
No. I was wrapping things up because, yes, we've done the giant inflatable darts, but we're yet to do the pool table, the table football as well.
We have done the pool table.
No, can we play pool after?
For the invite.
No, we have played pool.
Can we play pool after?
What happened with the pool, Chris? Can you remember?
I've not played pool.
Well, no, I'd agree with that.
But a rematch is on the cards then, so with that, we'll wrap up.
We've not played.
And we'll go back to you, Kelly.
And here's how Friday looks on 5 Live Sport. Mark Chapman has the build-up from 2 ahead of live commentary of Ghana versus Uruguay at 3 p.m. UK time. Then our 7 o'clock commentary is Cameroon versus Brazil. Up next is Colin Murray after the news on 5 Live.
The voice of the UK. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
With the BBC News on 5 Live at 10 o'clock, I'm Richard Foster. NHS England says this winter could be one of the most brutal on record because of rising demand, limited beds and strikes by staff. Ambulances have been struggling to transfer patients to A&E departments. 11,000 people spent more than an hour delayed in England last week. Rishi Sunak says he wants to see waiting times fall.
We've put more money into the NHS to help address the waiting times that people are experiencing. One of the ways we're going to do that is by moving people out of hospitals, back to their homes, back into the communities, and that's why we've invested in social care.
The Prime Minister's also announced more police powers to tackle illegal protests. He says it's completely unacceptable that people are having their lives disrupted by what he calls a selfish minority. A man who described himself as a psycho with a conscience has been found guilty of murdering 2 women. Mark Brown, who's 41 and from East Sussex, told his boss he expected to be arrested after the deaths of Alexandra Morgan and Leah Ware. Our correspondent Duncan Kennedy explains what the judge said to the killer.
He kind of asked whether he would tell the world where Leah Ware's body was. And regarding Alexandra Morgan, he said that if it is the case that Mark Brown lured her to his farm buildings with a view to sexually abuse her, planning to kill her afterwards, well, he said the sentencing point for that would be 30 years.
President Macron says France and the US need to become brothers in arms again now that war has returned to Europe. He was speaking as he arrived at the White House for a state visit. The leader of the SNP at Westminster, Ian Blackford, has denied claims that his decision to resign was a case of jumping before he was pushed. He's held the position for 5 years, but says it's time for fresh leadership ahead of the next general election. House prices in the UK saw their biggest fall for more than 2 years last month. The Nationwide Building Society says property prices were down, by 1.4%. Robert Gardner is their chief economist.
In the summer, for example, if you looked at the typical mortgage payment compared to take-home pay with mortgage rates where they were, came to around 30% or so of an average earner's wage. Now, that same sort of average earner buying a typical house, you're looking at about 45% of that average take-home pay.
And New York and Singapore have been named as the most expensive cities in the world to live in. It's the first time New York has topped the list. Last year's number one, Tel Aviv, is now third.
The World Cup on BBC Sounds.
With coverage of every single game on 5 Live.
Oh, what an amazing goal! Kylian Mbappe!
Expert analysis and debate with some of the biggest names in football on the World Cup Daily Podcast.
What Gareth Southgate wants is that they can perform under the most intense pressure they will ever experience.
And a bit of fun in Match of the Day Top 10 with Gary Lineker.
Micah Richards is back along with Alan Shearer and myself for the biggest international football tournament on the planet.
Take the World Cup with you. Listen on BBC Sounds.
It's creating that community we love, and it will do it now on text 85058. Here are the rules. So songs with 2 different instruments, samples count. So if you have a song that's just samples, but they sample drums, guitars, orchestra, that's too many, it goes. I'm not counting vocals as an instrument. That's another good rule. Bit of advice, look out for bass. So the bass guitar will rule you out. If you've got guitar, drum and bass in a 3-piece, it's not getting in. And songs that don't even say bass, you'll hear it in the background. Anyway, real test tonight, 85058 on the text. Before that, after 11, we're going to catch up with a Ukrainian radio family. Difficult this week to get hold of Svetlana, Maxim and Mila. Tough times in Kiev right now with blackouts and shortages, but we just managed it. A minute before we were due to go live on air, we finished speaking with Mila. So we'll be talking to them after 11 o'clock. You'll hear that. And Thursday is a regular checkup now with Dr. Chris Smith. What an important night to be here on a week when we're talking about Alzheimer's breakthrough. So he's going to weigh in on that and other subjects. Plus an amazing chat coming your way on UN humanitarian aid. Important. Yes, although I get it may not sound like a gripping subject. It's all figures and numbers and next year, but it really is. A lot of the money that they're now asking for, I mean, going from pledges made to actually receiving the check is not straightforward. Where does the money go? How many people do the UN project are going to need real help next year? It's hugely worrying. It's mind-boggling. And we have a brilliant expert speaking to us on this tonight. So that's a lot to get in and the usual mix. But after breaded ham last night, I have another random thought for you. And if anyone messages in about this, I'll talk to you before 11:30. It's about your luggage coming off a flight first. The first ever flight I ever had, the only flight I ever had as a child, which was to London and then driven to Winchester to see family. They took my cuddly toys off me and I was very upset. They put them in the hold. And I stood waiting for the luggage to come out, really upset, and it came out like near the end. It was traumatic. And ever since then, I've been obsessed with being the first bag out of luggage. And as I speak to you tonight, 45 3/4, never once has my bag came out first from a flight. So in what is even for me a very random thing, I want you to text in tonight in 85058, just for a bit of light relief around the news. Has it ever happened to you? And what was it like? Your bag coming out first. I was on a flight. So I got to tell you, I stand there, I race there. It's like, I know it's going to happen once before I die. I was on a flight at the weekend from Aberdeen to London and there were only 16 people waiting for their luggage. I'm thinking, these are the greatest odds I've ever had. 16-1, it came out 15th. So are you obsessed with this as well? And has it happened to you? And was it one of the greatest moments of your life? 85058. Other shows would find that a little bit of a strange thing to talk about, but not listeners to Weeknight, Monday to Thursday on 5 Live. Let's begin tonight with some bang up-to-date breaking news, because just now the polls have closed in the Chester by-election.